for the 300th time, maybe far too many times in some people's opinions. Welcome, everybody, to the Hoots Podcast. It's March 10th, 2022. Recording this live on a Thursday night. For those who are listening to the audio version, you get to start your weekend on Friday morning. As you rise up, you'll get episode 300 of the Hoots Podcast. And before we get started with anything, I wanted this Roman Reigns Acknowledge Me hoodie, not for myself, but I want this to say to everybody, acknowledge us. This podcast is not just about myself. There's been a lot of great people over the years that helped make this podcast what it is, and we're going to get to that in a couple minutes. But for those who are watching this, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or watching it later on, I just want to say thank you for acknowledging us and supporting our work, even if it's outside the Hoots Podcast. And thank all of you for taking, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes, a whole show, no matter how many time of the day you took out to listen to this podcast or video show over the last 6 years. Honestly, thank you. It really means a lot to me. And we're going to get into a lot of the fun, sappy shit in a couple of minutes. But if this is your first time listening to the Hoots Podcast, I just want you guys to know that this podcast is based on, giving out some life advice. Also, giving out some wisdom, not taking wrestling too seriously. Also, at the same time, I want you guys to feel like we're sitting next to you and we're in the back porch on the weekend just shooting the shit about professional wrestling. And that's been the charm of this podcast since April of 2016. I have an announcement to make in a couple of minutes as well, so I know you guys have been waiting on that.
Yep, sure have.
Every day I'm thinking about what is Josh possibly going to announce that could possibly be this earth-shattering thing that's been building and building. I'm very
Yes, exactly.
Yes, we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But welcome, everybody, to episode 300 of the Hoots Podcast. It's going to be a special night, and we got a lot of questions. And I do apologize in advance. This is going to be a longer edition, but this is a special occasion. I don't get a lot of opportunities like this where I can have my guys, Rob and referee Tony here. By the way, let's bring the good brothers in. Let's start off with Canada's greatest treasure to audio.
That's right.
AKA the video boss.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, Josh, you better be very careful what your words are.
Attaboy.
The video boss, the director of operations, Sir Jericho, Derek Stoughton.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Josh, congratulations, man. 300 episodes. 6 years you've been doing this show, and it's had a number of iterations over the years, starting off as the Joshie Lopez Wrestling Podcast and now becoming the Hoots Podcast. And it's just been so much fun to watch you grow and to watch you be a part of this over the last 6 years. Much like Josh, thanks to everybody who has checked out the show even for a little bit, asked us some really great questions, sparked some great debates, been put on certain lists. Anything that's happened over these last few years, we really appreciate it. And we're just really looking forward to a great night of going down memory lane, but also looking forward to what's being coming next. So really great to be here, Josh. We're going to have a great night.
Coming up next is another good brother that's been part of this show on and off. He also hosts a podcast himself. It's called Heat, the Wrestling Podcast. A young man who's actually an opinion that I actually admire and listen to, because this man's actually worked in the professional wrestling industry. But more importantly, this man's really helped me out in a lot of life stuff outside of wrestling over the last couple of years. And I'm glad he's here to shoot the shit with us today. It's referee Tony S. What's going on, my man?
Josh Lopez. First of all, I have a correction. I'm not necessarily a young man, but I am young at heart, so I guess that counts. We have made it through 6 years, 300 episodes, and I couldn't be more proud of you, as something will drop into your inbox in about 20 minutes. But it is I, your humble referee extraordinaire, the man who finally shows up on camera, not just audio. I only do it for special occasions, this being one of them. I am the man who is the official dean of DSU. At least,
Right.
at least in officiating 101 if you want to do things right. I happen to be the man who is the initial official of professional wrestling, the guy who puts the S after AJ Styles. because when you're phenomenal like me, you have to add the extra S. I am the man who is not afraid to tell it like it is, just like anybody else on this show. I happen to be the guy who single-handedly changed the face of the wrestling business as far as referees go, as you know it. But more importantly than that, I am a good brother to one and all. My name is Referee Tony S. Yes, I am the host of the Heat Wrestling Podcast, but that's not about me, even though I've said about 5 minutes of it. This is the Josh Lopez Show. And Josh, again, thank you so much for allowing me the privilege to be on the bottom part of the screen tonight. As I am alone down here. I feel like this is the weirdest version of the Brady Bunch I've ever seen in my life. But it all works out because when you have the good brother Josh Lopez and the director of covert operations, brother Carter here, anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation. And anything can happen here on the Hoots Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, no Charlotte Flair slander here on this episode. And I don't care if you think she's trash or not. Because we call it right down the middle here. And we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to tell it the way it is, was, never will be. We will be, if not, we already are, the Bret Hart of wrestling podcasts. Because we tell like it is here. And Brother Carter, again, so good to see you. It has been a while. Congratulations, by the way, my friends. About time that Josh Lopez, with the money that he earns on this show, decided to bring you in, not via satellite. We decided to bring you in for real this time. And again, 300 episodes and beyond. It's going to be a real special occasion, guys. Let's have fun with it. Let's get right to it.
All right, boys. Before we get going here, I do want to mention really quick couple things. And it's not plugs, actually. You want to find the plugs and not listen to it. Like, if you don't want to hear plugs like litter in like every 20 minutes in every other wrestling podcast that's out there, just check out the description box.
Wow.
Wow.
I was gonna say, Josh, you got to be careful because remember, as director of operations, I have to balance the books as well. So listen, you've got to get your plugs in there, because we've got to get this thing moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, just because this is episode 300 does not mean this is not a performance evaluation. No, I don't care. I don't care. Listen, I don't care. This is episode 300. We're still performance evaluation all the time. Ain't no time for slowing down. Just say
there's an evaluation for you later on, my friend.
Listen, you don't want to go one-on-one with the champ, baby. You don't want to go around. You don't want to go with the man, the myth, the legend, the people's choice, the people's champ, the best of all time, baby. You don't want to go with this.
What?
It's going to be a banger.
Yes. We're going to bring all our bells and whistles. We do have our main event segment, What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, which will cap up this fun edition of shenanigans for the next little while. But let's start off with this. I started this podcast in April 2016 when I was 22 years old. And I had a little running of backstage dirt sheet politics, if you will, at WrestleZone.com. And at that time, I was like really burnt out as far as like recording shows and like just doing this in general. I was young at the time. I had my options and a lot of other stuff I wanted to do. I was fortunate enough to start getting my start of like writing the articles. But as far as the on-air work, I just found it very toxic and very mentally draining at that time. And At that part, I was in the game for 3 years. I had a nice little run on the radio show that I was doing on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, and I the first person I really need to shout out here on this podcast, and a big thanks to today, is Kevin Gray, my mentor. He was an instructor at the school. He was one of the graduate assistants at now the Illinois Media School, formerly known as Illinois Center for Broadcasting. But KG, Kevin Gray, was the guy that taught me how to format a show, taught me the games of producing, and I just learned a lot from KG. KG unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and I think about him a lot every day, and I say there's a select amount of people that I can count on, that I could say without them I'm not where I am right now. That's God, that's my family, it's you guys, it's KG, and it's Adam Daley as well, another person that I started the show off with. Adam and I got to meet each other in 2014 when he was doing his Countdown Recount show. And the charm of the Hoots Podcast, especially everybody that watched it from the beginning, is that you know what a standard wrestling podcast looks like. You know what a standard wrestling podcast sounds like. You know what the format is. You know the whole vibe. You know all of it. You know what I mean? And at that time period, if I was going to continue on with a project like this, I needed somebody to have that back and forth with, but with a different tone, a different approach, and a different reasons behind it. And we took things that we didn't like and turned it into more a comedy field and joke around with it. But when I started the show with Adam Daley in 2016, it was about making you guys feel like we're sitting next to you and we're just shooting the shit about professional wrestling. And I can't thank Adam Daley enough for everything he's done for me personally. I'm putting a lot of the podcast on the side, even though he is as big of a part of this show than I ever was. And that's just the truth. Without him, this show is not where it is right now. And even though he's not here today, I miss him. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I do want to give a shout out to Adam because he is my brother and I do miss him. And he really was at sometimes the glue of the show, and he brought a lot of that comedy edge. He really helped me get out of my shell. In some ways, I can admit to that as a young kid at the time. Look, there was the age difference. He was like 11 years older than I was. And we just had a dynamic where I fed off of him. And I really consider that guy my brother. And we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of people checking out the shows when we were doing it. Big shout out to our guy, Patrick Fritz, who's the first supporter of the Hoots Podcast back in the day. Here you go. See Pat. By the way, you'll hear Pat in the audio version of the podcast. Little teaser right there for those who are watching the live version. Shout out to Pat because he was there in the beginning when it was just me and Adam at the start of the show. While I'm mentioning Adam, I also want to give a big shout out to AJ Daley, who was also getting her start in this wrestling podcasting stuff at a very young age. And we had a fun segment and a fun period during the show when Adam came back for a brief while, and we did this segment called Through the Eyes of a 9-Year-Old. And it was a fun bit to have a young kid at the time give her opinions on wrestling and take the old jaded, morose, oh, I hate wrestling, oh, it should be this, it should be that, blah, 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 blah. Like we had to put that to the side. And, you know, the cool part when I was doing the segments with AJ is that she brought us whole. Her perspective really brought things into perspective, especially when it comes to WWE content, because what you see on Twitter is not really the end-all be-all of what's over or not in professional wrestling and what the outlook should be in the industry as a whole. And I want to thank Adam and AJ. I love you guys, and thank you guys for everything you've done for this show. Next, Brother Carter. Yes. Brother Carter has been a staple of this show, even from the early stages. I remember me and Derek actually first met up doing shows together on WrestlingRumors.net, the warm-up show, and me hijacking the show and causing shenanigans sometimes. Again, I was a young kid at the time. There's been a lot of maturing and stuff like that since this process started, but more importantly, kind of similar feel, I haven't had this much chemistry on air with somebody like Adam as like I do with Brother Carter. And Brother Carter's been really the staple of this show for the last 3 or 4 years. Has been doing it more weekly, whether it's satellite or on video. Brother Carter's really helped out this show, and it's cool that we got to like co-sign doing like what the hell is wrong with AEW, and it's one of the things that I'm very proud of. Like, for those who get the gist of the segment, really understand that we want it to be good and we want it to be proven wrong, but we're gonna have fun with it. Everybody thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're gonna tell you, we're gonna keep it real, like Tony said. We're gonna keep it a buck, the good buck, actually. But
buck, Josh.
Yeah, whether it's the list of Jericho, the thoughts of Jericho, the set, any of the crazy things that we tried over the last couple of years just to try to freshen up the show. I really thank Brother Carter for everything he's done for this show. And same thing with Tony. I thank him for being a brother outside of wrestling and not just keeping it wrestling related, because, you know, there's a lot of people that do this stuff for clout and blah, 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 blah. And try to get attention and try to do it to be a celebrity or whatever. But it's very rare where you have people who do care about you generally as a human being. And Brother Carter's been that. So I just want to give a shout out to you, Brother Carter.
Hey, Josh, I'll interrupt real quick and just say thank you so much for those kind words. And it has just been an honor and a pleasure to get to be a part of this. And I really thank you for giving me a platform. Look, I'm not in the business. I'm not in broadcasting. You know, I'm not an official. I'm just a fan. I'm just some normal schmuck, you know, who just happens to watch wrestling for the entertainment value of it, you know? And so to have a platform to get to express some thoughts and opinions and try to have some fun with some entertainment, with a sport that I've, you know, grown up watching and that I just love, just for the art of it, not for, you know, I mean, it's, again, like, I'm not in the business. I just look at it as a fan, and you know, so to have the opportunity to do this is something that I really, really appreciate, and it's an escape for me for my daily life. You know, we talk about on our show too that we want people to just have an escape, right? We just want them to get their mind off of things, come be with us, have some fun for an hour and a half, and then, you know, just leave the baggage at the door. Trust us, the baggage will be there at the end of the podcast. Your baggage will still be there at the end of the podcast. So just leave it aside for a bit, get away, have some fun. So, Josh, it's just been so much fun to just watch the show grow, to see all the iterations we've been on throughout the years, with when we were doing stuff with the Pipe Bomb, with Wrestling Rumors, when we were together on the TBD Wrestling Podcast. That's still one of my favorite moments of all time when we were together.
Man, who the hell did that?
Yeah.
Good God Almighty.
We'll get to that in a minute, but I still go back and listen to the Matt Nick lukewarm.
Oh my
I still
God!
listen to that, and Matt Nick lukewarm.
Oh my God!
So thank you so much, Josh. Thank you, Tony. And it's just been an honor and a pleasure.
Let's get my bearings back for a second. Oh my!
I know how you get this shit out of that. Jeez.
You're a professional. You're supposed to know how to do it.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I know what they teach you in hosting school for podcasts. Don't forget, we went over this on the team.
Hey, I'm not a dirt sheet guy. I actually went to media school.
Oh.
All right. Next, since he's here, referee Tony.
Oh yeah, since I'm here. Yeah. Since I'm here. Yes. What a segue that was. Just wait for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, it's very rare where you have people like really trying to like pump you up when you start like feeling down on yourself and actually believe in the content that you're pushing out without like expecting it in return. You know, like every time I've interacted with Tony over the years, yeah, he's kind of like play it off like whatever, like kind of blow. Uh, but honestly, though, like Tony has really, really been one of those people to like push me forward anytime I like start like doubting myself, and I can't thank you enough for that. And you know, like get to learn a lot from you about the wrestling industry and the fact that you take the time to appreciate like the time I put into the transcripts and stuff like that, and us having conversations about officiating. And we're gonna get to that, especially towards the end of this podcast today. But you know, Tony is a real brother, and I can say that. You know, I think we met in passing, I think at WrestleMania 33, but we never really had a chance to hang out in person. But I really do consider you a brother, Tony, and I thank you for everything. Just like supporting us with this, you know, and everything in general. Like you're really a real one. That's like the kids say these days. You're a real one. So thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Well, you don't have to thank me for doing what I'm supposed to do. It comes easy when you care about somebody. When it's real, it's not supposed to be difficult. And you know, it's all about, you know, like you gave, you know, Derek the platform, and you know, just like you needed a platform yourself, I think a lot of wrestling fans need that open air platform to hear somebody who maybe has the same grievances that they do, or maybe has those thoughts that maybe they're too afraid to talk about, whether it's wrestling or real life. And so you've done a masterful job in creating that platform. And even so, when it comes to real life stuff, you know, if I'm not there, or if somebody's not there to give you legitimate information, you know, at least in the professional wrestling business, there's going to be a lot of people that would like to bullshit you and would like to BS you around. And that is acknowledged far too often than the ones that are willing to take the time to sit down with you and try to be like, okay, so I'm at point A, I need to get to point C, but I'm confused about point B. How do I get there? And right. So you've taken the time to not just kind of watch it, but you've kind of taken the time to, like you said, student of the game, you studied the business, and a lot of people who really want to do this seriously, they need to take notes on that. So, you know, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to place a small part in your journey, you know, whether it's, you know, here, whether it's, you know, Heat the Wrestling Podcast, whether it was a podcast, that shall not be mentioned. It's, yes, but honestly, thank you for giving me that platform to kind of open up and be, you know, an extension of myself. So I thank you for that. And honestly, you know, we appreciate the real ones that are on this show, anybody that listens to us, you know, whether it's my show or this show, but it's all about, you know, keeping it, you know, real with each other and with their love and thoughts of professional wrestling. We tell it like it is, and you know, anything other than that is complete BS, in my opinion. So I thank you for that. And Brother Carter too, because at least Brother Carter and Josh Lopez have a critically acclaimed segment to the point where they have a critically acclaimed segment to the point where there needs to be a disclaimer before every segment of the show, which tells me that what they're about to say, kids, is 100% legitimate. Pay attention.
Yes.
Well said. Hear, hear.
Thank you. Yes.
I'd be remiss without mentioning B-Rob. Yeah, even though his honey stinks. Is that what the line is?
His honey was no good.
No good.
I think his honey is terrible. He calls himself B-Rob. Oh, B-Rob. My honey's great. I think his honey isn't that good.
Really a big shout out to B Rob. He's a good brother to all of us, and I've done a lot of shows with B Rob, whether it's the Pipe Bomb or Rob's appearances on this show sporadically. I love everything he does. Me and Rob share a bond of having a non-filter attitude, but keeping it chill and just keeping it positive. But more importantly, I relate to Rob in the way his work ethic is. And hustling in a good way, not hustling and trying to do people wrong. Just like having that work ethic, seeing his success and everything he's doing outside of wrestling, and he's still doing his podcast and stuff. Honestly, I could be more happy for B Rob, and I'm more than glad to say that I could call him a friend and a brother. So I want to give a big shout out to B Rob for everything he's done for this show. And honestly, I want to give a shout out to Rob because he's really the one that gave me the idea to start my transcript website. I was going through a rut during the Pipe Bomb because I was leaving WrestleZone and I wasn't sure what's next. And he's like, "Start your own shit, man. Nobody can do your work better than you, and nobody can set your terms than you." I remember him telling me that, and the Pro Wrestling Transcriptions is my baby. That's the project I'm most proud of professionally, but personally, this project really means the most to me, and B Rob's been a big part of that both ways. So shout out to B Rob. Really quick, if I miss anybody, I did make sure to put an effort to mention everybody that's played a big part of my career and everybody supporting this show down the screen as you watch here on YouTube. So if I miss anybody, it's nothing personal or anything like that. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. Obviously, the Good Brothers, Patrick Fritz, start off with him, the first true, real supporter of this podcast. And, I'm glad that Pat was able to send it not only a shout out, but he also did like a little mini intro of his own, which you'll hear in the audio version. And you know what, Pat, since we're doing this and this is a celebration show, I'm thinking of, let me do something really quick. And if it's up to you, if you want to come on, I'm going to DM you the StreamYard link now. If you want to come on, honestly, this show is nothing without the people that support this show. So Pat, if you want to come on, the floor is yours. Let me see if I got his stuff correct here. All right, copy paste. I'm doing this live. Hey, like this is a live show. We're just doing it off the cuff, man. So.
Well, geez, kid, we gotta do it live. You know what I'm saying? Gotta do it live.
Yes,
right.
Filtered, unedited.
That's right. Uncensored. That's what they call raw. That's right.
Right. Recently, I've had a really good opportunity to work with a lot of cool people inside like the media realm of wrestling. I want to give shout out to my guy Andrew Daley, who I did a lot of work with on the S&D network, who's really helped me out a lot.
That's right, because you're an analyst now. No, that's right. No, it's Steve Curry. You can't deny it because you put it in your Twitter bio. Like Steve Carino says, get yourself over and don't stop until you're done. You're an analyst now. You are a professional wrestling transcriptor and analyst. That's because of your hard work. Don't shy away from that. Don't make me be like Brother Carter and put you on the spot now. Don't do it. Don't.
You are learning.
Yes.
We're learning, young.
Yes, I'm learning.
Learning. Yeah, we'll have to find We'll have to find a position for you in a position. No.
Yes.
In the royal court of Jericho.
Yeah. Yes. In due time, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drew, Blake Mitchelmore as well. Give shout out to those guys. They've been really cool to me. Robbie Realist from ARCG Media, a good friend I got to know more over the last couple of months or so. Rob was recently on the podcast a few weeks ago on our feed, the Catching Up With series. So shout out to Rob. Shout out to the guys that have always sent out questions every single week. It's going to be our good transition into our next segment here. But Chris Zaletta, Zaletta 24X, Nate the Great, my guy Sam Piobo at Second City Sam, the guy I went to broadcasting school almost 8 years ago. It's crazy how quick time goes by. Sam's an awesome dude, and glad to call him a brother as well. Also, main event Swerve Mike, Don in Houston. Shout out to Mike as well. Brandon DeJesus, another guy, IMS alum. And it looks like we got our buddy here today. Here he is, the good brother of all good brothers, Patrick Cliss.
What's up? Oh, yeah.
Hey!
You call me out. I'm watching the show. You call me out, and of course I'm going to jump on and send the congratulations. See, I can't even talk right now because I'm so flustered after you called me out. Yes, thank you very much for allowing me to be on for a few minutes with you, gentlemen. And congratulations on episode 300. It's awesome, and thank you for putting my intro into the audio, that I sent you. Again, I'm a little flustered here. I had no time to prepare for being on here. So, again, thank you, Josh. Again, 6 years you've been doing this. I've been very, very, on board with you guys. The good brothers. Brother Carter. You and I have gone on some stuff as well. Adam. Missing you hardcore, man. And Tony. Nice to talk to you as well. But Josh, you've been killing it for 6 years, and for the next, as I said in my tweets, prepping up for the show today. Here's to another 300 episodes. If we're going on and continuing, you haven't made your huge announcement yet. You've been building to it. So,
no, man, it really means a lot, and I'm glad you're here, so I can make this announcement to everybody here. So, before we get to the Q&A, when you're doing a project like this for many years, and I think a lot of content creators can relate to this, once you get to a certain benchmark or years, you start reflecting on what changes you want to make to the show to change it up. Is it something that you still want to continue doing? Is it something that you still have passion for? I live with a model from a guy named Notorious B.I.G. who unfortunately passed away yesterday, 25 years ago. That says only make moves if your heart's in it. And that's really my life motto at the end of the day. Everything I do is dictated by that. And I don't know, I will admit that a flaw of mine over the years has been self-doubt in some ways. And I wasn't sure if the show was having the impact that I wanted it to. In some ways, I wanted to bring something different to the table. I wanted to bring a show that was positive and make people remind them that we are talking and watching and covering an industry that's the most versatile form of entertainment. And I feel like a lot of us take it for granted sometimes. And I nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes along the way. And I had a lot of time to reflect on this decision. Only a few people know this or not, but honestly, 6 months ago, when I went back down to Central Florida, I went down there for a lot of soul searching, and there's a lot of stuff that I've been dealing with over the last couple of years that I've been trying to heal from, and that's also kind of affected a lot of my thinking and a lot of the things I've been doing. And the only thing that's really been keeping me happy since that time period, since I went down there, has been this show and wrestling. And I honestly, if you asked me 6 months ago if I wanted to continue with the show, I would tell you no. And I was really thinking about putting the show on hiatus after WrestleMania this year. And I've been really mulling over this decision because as much as I feel like we have one of the best shows out there, I feel like we have the most authentic podcast that's out there when it comes to professional wrestling. It's not about numbers or clout or appreciation or anything like that, but I don't feel in some ways that this podcast is resonating like the way I thought it would by this time of doing this. And we've been doing this show for 6 years, but the fact that we've been able to have people consistently sending questions every week. I see the numbers that we do get every week. I was talking this with Brett Carter yesterday. We're over 400,000 plus listeners on Anchor since we started putting the show up there. And
beautiful.
I've really been thinking about this because it's been difficult, and I talked about this with Pat when we did our podcast last year when he came on. That self-doubt has always been my biggest enemy, and I need to trust myself more in what I'm doing. And I think about the conversations I had with Tony over the years and about this, and I'm crying. This is actually good news because nobody's gonna stop me from reaching what I want to do in this field but me. And I'm not gonna dictate what I'm doing on anybody's time but my own. And I thought about this a lot. Honestly, I haven't made this decision since I made this decision last week. And I really need that time to really mull it over because I wanted to do right by everybody who supported the show. I feel like we have something special. I feel like we have something that people do care about. And I want to continue that. So I thought about it over, and there's a song in the intro in the monologue this week that's called 500 Miles. And my next goal for this show is to reach 500 episodes. So with that being said, we're going to continue on with the show.
Hell yes. Hell yes. That is the best announcement you can make, man. Way to go. Way to go. We're now on the road to 500, baby.
That's right.
I gotta say something quick because you last week, when you asked me to come on, you said you wanted to inform me of the announcement. And I said, no. I said, don't tell me. Keep it as a surprise. And there's no doubt in my mind, because you were talking about self-doubt, and everybody, I don't care how perfect you are, how perfect you think you are, everybody has that self-doubt. But you told me something that you just said here, and that was, nobody's going to dictate the outcome of what I do but me. You said that, and you would have never, ever, ever have said that 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, if you didn't believe that. So I think that this is, no matter what kind of milestone, I treat every episode as a celebration, no matter what kind of number that you put on it.
Yeah.
And to hear you break through like that and openly set another goal that you want to accomplish for yourself right here in front of everybody, that takes huge balls to do, because nobody would do that. And I commend you for opening yourself up to us, but putting a goal to yourself that we know by listening to this show, by watching this show, we know you're going to reach that goal. And there's going to be more goals in your life and your career that I've told you this, that you don't even know what's coming up for you yet. There's a lot of hidden gems in wrestling, and they go unrecognized because there are a lot of people out there that only want to focus on a certain subject or a certain negative to the industry. What you and Derek and everybody who's been on the show and had some kind of hand in Melting Pot on the show, you've built something that people can relate to. You've built something that people can resonate with. That's because of your hard work and your work ethic and your love for the business. The only thing I have, you have to promise me one thing before we continue, because I know you're going to Dallas because you keep putting on Twitter about the tickets that you bought and the hotels that you're going to do. You've already done that. People don't know, and the reason why I say this is because people don't know in the wrestling business. People don't know how to have fun in the wrestling business. Whether they're covering it, in it, refereeing it, wrestling in it, they don't know how to have fun in the wrestling business because they've forgotten it. They've forgotten what it's like to be a fan in some way, shape, or form. As long as you continue to find that fun in being a fan, whether it's in Dallas or with New Japan for Windy City Riot, do that. Find that and hold on to it. I'm happy for you and I'm proud of you. And as long as you keep giving me the invite to come here, NWO style, and invade this damn show, I have no problem doing it for as many episodes as you want.
Thank you, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Tony. Just if you don't mind, I'm going to piggyback off that real quick. Just a couple thoughts, Josh, and I want to piggyback off what Tony said about
charge you admission.
Yeah. I'll send the bill to your administrative assistant, and then we'll go from there. And then
it's okay. I already got it.
You better be careful, Mr. Tony. I've got a piece of paper here right next to me that I may have to bust out at a certain point in the show. I'm just saying. So I want to piggyback just real quick. Tony mentioned about, you're going to be going down to Dallas for WrestleMania, which is awesome. I wish I could be there. And Tony encouraged you to have fun, and he encouraged you to just go and remember. The way I compare it down is to remember your why. There's a great book, and I don't know if you had a chance to read it, by Simon Sinek. It's called Start With Why. And it's a tremendous read, and it just talks about why we do what we do. And it's a business-based book, and it talks about why companies do what they do and blah, blah, blah. But it's very important to remember your why. As we, and I can clearly tell that you've had a lot of burnout. I mean, you're this emotional release for you, which is very healthy, by the way. To have this emotional release and to just let it all out, acknowledge where you are personally, acknowledge where you are professionally, and just have that release. This is going to be a beautiful thing for you. Remembering your why is this is for anybody. Whenever we're down and we're like, God, we can't do this. We've got to stop. We've got to do something else. Go back to, there was a point in your life, Josh, where you decided, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And you've talked about that before. I think that I can't remember the exact moment. I know it involved CM Punk, and I can't remember exactly where it was. But you remembered there was a moment in your life like I need to be in the wrestling business for the rest of my life. So I think going back when you're having those moments to just remember why you're doing this, and if you can keep that at the forefront of your mind, it's going to launch you into things that you couldn't even possibly dream of. Because if your why is strong enough, it will get past anything, any doubt that you have, any negativity that comes your way, any of the haters that are out there that are going to try to bring you down. If your why is strong enough, it's going to conquer all that. So just remember your why. And I'm so glad you're having this emotional release, because it's just, you're just, as I've been learning in therapy over the last few months, just acknowledging where you are, acknowledging your feelings, acknowledge, okay, this is where I am. This is where we are. Yeah. What are we going to do to move on to the next thing? So I just applaud you, Josh. I'm so glad this show is going to be continuing. I'm so glad that we'll be able to put people on a list and that, get to educate the masses, tell people what the hell is wrong with AEW. And because people need to know. People, Josh, if there's one reason to keep the show going, it's because people need to know what the hell is wrong with AEW. Like, come on. If we didn't have this show, nobody would know what the hell was wrong with AEW. So
you would have to rely on Twitter, and who the hell wants to do that?
Hell no. Hell no.
But that's awesome, Josh. Congratulations, man. That's just outstanding.
Yeah, man.
I have to jump in here and echo what Brother Carter and Tony have said. I mean, 6 years and you've done this nonstop, and obviously from your reaction tonight, and as Brother Carter said, the emotional release that you're having now, it is healthy. It is very healthy. I think it is. You definitely are showing the wear and tear of doing this for 6 years. But if you as the old saying goes, if you love doing something, you'll never work a day in your life. This to you, between the transcriptions and doing this show, you are doing the two things that you absolutely love to do. And I have to say, and this is going to be a little bit of a humble brag, and this is going to be praising on you. I actually, on Tuesday and Thursday mornings when I'm getting ready for my day job, I actually look on your Twitter page. I look specifically for the pro wrestling transcripts links that you share, because I go on to get a Raw recap or a Dynamite recap. Like those I rely on those things that you put out there. To make sure if I miss anything, because as much as I DVR those shows, I don't want to sit down in the morning and have to thumb through 3-hour shows. I want to take 5-10 minutes out, and I want to read a really beautifully written transcript that you do that gives me what I need in a few minutes. And again, I've told you this before, and I think I told you this when I joined you last year on the Catching Up show that you had me on. I don't know how you do what you do. I really don't know how you do what you do. I don't know how you save up so much energy to do the New Japan shows, to do Raw, SmackDown, AEW, all the independent stuff, Impact. I mean, my God, man, you remind me of a Tesla sometimes, because it feels like you need to be plugged into the wall to recharge yourself so much, and you just keep running on energy so much. Yeah. But to hear that there's going to be at least another potential 4 years of this show, which is insane. First of all, let's talk about that. 10 years of this show potentially. That is insane, dude. And to hear that there's going to be another 200 episodes is just phenomenal. And I will support and retweet, quote tweet, whatever the hell tweet, to get the word out there for the show. And it's just awesome. And congratulations again, man.
I appreciate that, guys. And I don't know. I didn't want to get to the point where I feel like I'm fuck it. If people think I'm weak for breaking down, they can kiss my ass. I get it. I really don't care.
One other thing I want to say, Josh, to you is, one thing that I love about this show is that and I'm just throwing this out there, so feel free, my wonderful colleagues here, to disagree with me, but you've been doing this every single week for 6 years. Don't be afraid to take a break, man. Don't be afraid to just say, hey, listen, I need a week off. I need a week or two off. You have enough people here that can take guest hosting a show for a week. I mean, tell me you're in your network of people. If you need a little vacation, I'm serious about this. Like, if you need a vacation, it's like, hey, listen, I'm just getting burned out this week. I can't do it. Can a couple of y'all, would y'all mind doing the show this week? You can tell me that a bunch of us would be happy to jump up and do a show for you for a week, of course. So don't ever, dude, we all need a break. We all need to just decompress a little bit, step away. And I know you did that in Florida, but a real, I'm not going to think about this for a while, to just recharge, refocus, get your energy back and get going. So don't ever be afraid to take a break, man. We got you. If I could actually, speaking of piggybacking, if I could piggyback on that for a second, personal story of mine, last year, my wife and I went down to the Outer Banks of North Carolina for a week. And I literally took that week to unplug from everything going on and just from my day-to-day life. And
I think that was one of the best vacations I have had in my life. Outside of I've gone to Florida a few times myself, but going there and waking up on the beach and just seeing what was there and hearing, just the environment I was in was an amazing thing. And I have to, again, agree with Brother Carter that if you need, any of us to step up. I mean, I've been on Twitter, I've been bugging you for how many weeks and months to jump on the show. And within 5 minutes of you calling me out on this episode, and you sending me the link, I jumped on because I'm glad to jump on and as you say, shoot the shit with you guys.
There's your proof right there.
Exactly.
There's your proof right there.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys really brought things into perspective, and so we're gonna continue on with this, and whatever happens with it number wise, I really don't care. I really put the quality of this show and what it represents more than whatever numbers we get.
I need a squash match now to kind of get through the emotional release that we all just had, I think.
Yeah, we need to decompress right there. Yeah, I need to smoke.
I really think, honestly, guys, to be serious here, I really, when I went down to Florida last year, I really went down there for a lot of reasons. As a lot of you guys know, I am planning to move down there within the next year or so, and I'm just like really ready to start the next chapter of my life. But also, I've had a lot of things that I need to release and stuff I need to heal on. I don't need to talk about that on air. For those who know, but
don't lie, you're setting up the Lopez compound in Florida. We all know this.
Listen,
we all know this.
Listen, as director of operations, I've got people down in Florida, Josh. We know what's really gone on down there. I'm just saying.
So do I, actually.
Yeah, Tony,
I listen, director of covert operations. We know a thing or two about a thing or two, and we teach people a thing or two about a thing or two. So
yeah,
and I'm very surprised, Josh Lopez, with all of your knowledge. We're still waiting for a Josh Lopez podcast network.
Ooh.
It's not a bad idea. There's a lot of
not a bad idea at all.
We got a blank canvas to figure out what this next 4 years are going to look like, and I think a lot of the root of why I broke down there is because of the stuff I had to heal from. But like you said, you guys are right. If there's time where I need to take a step back and just take a week off, like I should take that. There's also been other stuff too. I'll admit I miss Adam. I miss recording shows with him. I miss that experience of just talking with him off air without anything related to wrestling. I just miss him a lot, and I wish he was here. And I think that's another reason why I've been kind of feeling down over the last couple of weeks. But when I started the show with him, we always said, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right and let's keep it 100. It doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. We're gonna do it on our own terms and not look back. And I'm not like I said, I'm not looking back for anybody. I don't regret the things I've gone through. I'm very fortunate for what this show's been able to achieve, especially on Anchor. By the way, shout out to Anchor for giving us a platform to share the show out to the platforms that they do. I'm just really fortunate to say that we have a real authentic podcast about professional wrestling that doesn't make you feel like you shouldn't be a wrestling fan. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and something that I think about when it comes to this show. So, yeah. So, announcement, crying free this time.
Awesome.
We're going to continue on with this show, and we're very close to reaching 500K on Anchor, so that'll be here before you know it. So thank you guys for chill with us for the last 6 years, and we got a lot more in store going on down the road. All right, let's get to the questions, because we got a lot of questions, and I knew this was gonna be a long one, but I need to speak from the heart and explain my announcements. So Pat, you can stay on here as long as you want. I know you probably have to wake up early for work tomorrow. But
I'll be on here a little bit longer, though. You're not going to get rid of me that easily.
He tried. He
Yeah.
tried to.
He tried.
No, Patrick, if you want to go, I know
Yeah.
you're busy. I'm just saying.
You got that work life. I mean, if you want to do that thing
saying,
that's supposed to pay the bills,
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
sure you can do that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're going nowhere.
All right, let's start off with one of my favorite segments that we do on the podcast each week. It's called the Good Brothers Q&A. You guys can participate. If you don't have an answer to a question, you can pass it off too if you don't want to participate. But I got questions this week from Chris Aletta at XScenesAletta24X. We usually start off with Chris, so let's keep it proper. Shout out to Chris. A guy with a Brooklyn accent yet lives in Massachusetts. I wonder how it is out there for him in Boston. Shout out, my bad, Rhode Island. It's still the same shit. It's
Close
like,
enough.
oh, we got New England, we got Rhode Island. It's all the same shit. Just make it one state. Jesus.
Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island.
No, it's not.
All right. Let's start off with this. What up, Oos? Major congrats on the episode 300. Here's some questions for the Q&A this week for you, Tony, Derek, and now here we are with Mr. Fritz. We got a New Japan question to start off here. Who will dethrone Okada? I'll take this one. Tony, if you want to add on to this, you can. I think there's one person, and it's due to what happened in the G1 last year, unfortunately. We were really slated to have a real clinic of a match with him and Ibushi in the finals of last year's G1 Climax final, and then unfortunately Ibushi suffered a bad injury heading towards Wrestle Kingdom this year. And unfortunately, Ibushi had to miss out on the New Japan Cup. I think whenever this title reign comes, and I think it has to be to Ibushi, because I thought Ibushi was going to beat Okada in that G1 match last year. And I just think it's only right for story purposes for Ibushi to have that moment over Okada on a big Tokyo Dome show. So my pick would be Ibushi. How about you, Sony?
That would be a good pick. The only problem is, as far as right now goes, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Like you said, he had to miss the New Japan Cup. So, now that Tetsuya Naito failed to become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at the end of the New Year's Golden Series.
Yep.
So it's kind of up in the air. My favorite, well, actually one of my favorite New Japan athletes, which actually now I can publicly thank Josh for, because if it wasn't for technically his transcriptions, I wouldn't be following New Japan at this point. So, the thing is, like you said, normally the winner of the New Japan Cup would get a championship opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
So Shingo Takagi is a real favorite.
Yes.
Because he made it to the finals of the New Japan Cup. And then there's, of course, Will Ospreay. He's a contender now for the title. But with everything going on, the thing I like about the New Japan Cup is that the New Japan Cup, right out of the gate, even with the first round, there are certain outcomes of matches that you don't even expect.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how far Hiromu Tanahashi is going to go, especially when he's got to face Minoru Suzuki coming up in the New Japan Cup. So to answer the question, I think as right now, like you said, Ibushi would be the favorite, but we don't know as far as timetable goes when he's going to come back from injury. So it's got to be somebody who's on the roster right now. And of course, with Naito's still going to be in the hunt. I wouldn't be surprised if Tetsuya Naito still gets a chance to main event Wrestle Kingdom next year and possibly become the World Heavyweight Champion. But if I had a non-point gun to my head bullet with a name on it, it would have to be gotta be Shingo Takagi. I think that Shingo could be it if he really put his mind in it, especially with the match he had with Tomohiro Ishii. He could be the World Heavyweight Champion any given point in time at any event that he wanted to. So I may be a little bit biased, but it would be hard to go against Shingo Takagi.
By the way, if you want to see what Elite actually looks like in strong style, check out Ishii and Takagi for the Japan Cup the other day.
God Almighty!
And also shout out to Okada and El Desperado from their match as well.
Yes.
Pat, Brother Carter, anything you want to add on to that?
Unfortunately, you guys are the more knowledgeable with New Japan than myself. So
all the knowledge from New Japan goes to the guy in the upper left corner.
I just worry that all of a sudden the forbidden door will be opened and these talents will be ruined at some point. Can
we please retire that phrase? Please, for the love of everything sacred, retire that phrase. That is the most overplayed phrase in television history over the last few months.
Can we keep that door closed and put a master lock on it?
Yes. Thank you.
Can we?
By the way, let's say even if COVID ends, keep the borders closed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jungle Express.
It's like
them.
Oh God.
As much let's New Japan right now could be the purest wrestling promotion on the planet. Can we keep it as is? Heaven forbid we have Tony Khan at Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh,
imagine the promo he's going to cut, pal.
Hey, remember when Hideo Itami was supposed to, when he arrived for those couple shows and like, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we have a separate segment for that. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry.
A lot of questions that we had.
I'm sorry.
Oh God.
All right,
thank you, Chris, for the question.
Yeah.
Who will be the next New Japan talent to take a giant step this year in the coming months? I'll take this really quick. I got to say, the young lions class that they have right now with Ryohei Oiwa and Kota Ibuka is a really good crop of young lions that I think could make some noise at New Japan Strong whenever they go on excursion. So I could say that. Bright card, for those who don't know, excursion means you graduate from being a young boy and you get to travel around the country before you go back to being a mainstay in New Japan. So they have like a tier system of how that works down there in New Japan. I'll say this. I'll say Sonata. I know right now he's the current IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, beating Tanahashi recently, but I think this is going to be a very good year for Sonata. Please, for the love of God, get rid of the fucking House of Torture, because that's the worst faction I've seen since the Core.
Oh God! Good God!
Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no!
Sorry.
It is Bull Club related. I
want to say
it. To be fair, I did like the Core's music though.
Yeah, they had some good music. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next one.
Okay.
Here you go. Here's an interesting one. This is more WWE. What would you guys have Seth Rollins do at WrestleMania? Really quick. Let's start with Pat. Pat, you there? Did you freeze up?
Is he
I'm here. I don't know. Am I here? I'm here.
Oh, he's here. I'm hearing him.
You got some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I got to remove Pat.
Oh, yeah, he was frozen.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is with the. Let's see if he. Is this better?
Oh, maybe.
Am I back?
I can hear you. Your video's cut off. Are you good with your router?
No, but if I have to shut my camera off and go audio, I'll just stay audio.
Okay, that's fine.
I would say have him get involved with K. Austin.
Okay, I can see that. Brett Carr, what would you have Seth Rollins do at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, are they doing the? I hate to say this. Are they doing the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? I mean, do you have him win the Battle Royal? I don't know. Maybe I'm sure they can find something for him to do. Maybe get involved with the Austin thing. I don't mind that, but maybe have him win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
There is somebody out there, but I want to hear what Tony would do with Seth Rollins.
How is it that Seth Rollins does not have a match lined up at WrestleMania? Can somebody explain that to me? It would almost be a downgrade if Seth Rollins wins the Battle Royal. Because I mean, you win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania in the height of the century. You beat Triple H at WrestleMania. You win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So he's done a lot, and to just have him go from that to not having something at WrestleMania. So the only other way I could see it, if he's not competing for a championship or in any kind of a main event scenario, he's got to be remembered for something at WrestleMania, and that's with KO and Austin.
I have two picks. One of them has been speculated and could go down on Monday in Jacksonville. I could say there's a possibility of him and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. If that's
that's I like that.
And then the second
smoke and mirrors match in WrestleMania. Okay, let's go with that.
Smoke and mirrors against Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I dig it.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
The second option would make sense due to what happened at the Elimination Chamber, and they've been kind of holding off this guy off due to concussion protocol. But if Bobby Lashley wants to get revenge for losing his WWE title,
I just thought about that as you were talking. Is maybe Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was thinking Bobby Lashley as well.
Yeah. Seth Rollins needs to put on, if he's not competing for a championship, he always puts on banger matches at Mania. So
hey, you did it for Cesaro last year. I was there for that.
Yep. So it's either Lashley or Cody.
Well, there's no. Why couldn't he jump to SmackDown and challenge for the Intercontinental Championship?
I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to say it.
Why not? Because
SmackDown is tomorrow night. Maybe he pops up out of nowhere. You never know.
Isn't there rumored to be a ladder match for the IC title at Mania, though?
I have heard of that. I think they want to bring back a ladder match. They haven't done it. I actually think the last ladder match they did at WrestleMania was in Dallas for 32. So,
woo.
You know it.
Oh God! Don't get me started on Matt Cardona. No, or as Moose would say, mid Cardona.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
One of the few good things from Impact Wrestling these days, if there's anybody still watching. All right, here we go. Next question: who is the next quarterback domino to fall? Now we got a sports question here. Next quarterback to fall. So this has been a busy week. The biggest obvious thing in God's green earth happened this week. Aaron Rodgers has decided to go back to the Green Bay Packers to finish where he's been finishing for the last 10 years. Disappointing everybody in the playoffs. And then we have Russell Wilson going to Brother Carter's part of the world in Colorado with the Denver.
Let's go,
dude.
Broncos.
Oh, then we got Carson Wentz, King HR's favorite quarterback. Carson Wentz is out playing for the Washington Commanders. Let's start with Pat. Like, who do you think is the next big guy to either be traded or because free agency starting next week? So
seeing as I'm from New Jersey, where we have two laughable football teams. I've heard rumors that Daniel Jones is potentially getting chopped out of the Giants, so I would say maybe he gets moved somewhere else. And I also
Nick Foles.
I'm sorry?
Can I interest you in Nick Foles?
No. I believe it or not, I am neither a Giants nor a Jets fan. I'm actually a New England fan, believe it or not.
Yep, I know.
So, yeah, Nick Foles, no thank you. I'll take Mac Jones, thank you. He's doing pretty all right for himself.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Here's a name that I don't know if he's going to get traded, but who started to do well near the end of last season was Derek Carr. I actually thought he was playing okay in Las Vegas for a while, and I know there have been rumors they've been trying to get rid of him. So that could be one. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy G get moved pretty soon, perhaps over to Indy now that they need a quarterback.
Yep.
So those are just a couple names I'd thought of off the top of my hat.
He was somebody that I thought was going to be the successor to Brady in New England, and the surprise move of him from New England to San Francisco surprised the ever living hell out of me.
And the other one that I understand why, but I can't believe that they haven't figured this out is Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
One of the top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Now I understand there's a reason he had to sit out. Like I get it, but I mean, you have elite, and I use that word properly, elite talent, just not doing anything. Like surely a team will find him, could figure out a deal to get him.
Tony?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has that big question mark right over his career right now for reasons we know and for reasons we don't. But he's one. Mac Jones right now, he's got to be high up on that list, man. He has to be. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy G, he's been on the height of everybody's list for a couple of years now. Jimmy G almost has that kind of Teflon demeanor to him where you'd think he would eventually go and somehow he keeps his job. So I think right now, Mac Jones, out of the three I just mentioned, he's on the hot seat more than anybody else right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? When I think of the word domino, I think of somebody that's talked about more than, this is another guy that moved. You know what I mean? Moves are moves in sports. So I think the next domino, if you will, that the most people are going to be talking about, and I have some partial bias here, it is Mitch Trubisky. This time next week, Mitch Trubisky would be the most talked about quarterback that's moved in the NFL.
Wow.
That's a name that's a name everybody left off the radar right now.
Bold statement.
For good reason. Sorry.
Oh.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a good reason. It seems like people just want to jump on Twitter perceptions on the guy and not actually watch the team being run by a clowns. Matt Nagy, a clown. Ryan Pace, a clown. George McCaskey, a clown. Virginia, I don't care how old she is, she's a clown. They're all stooges and clowns down there. Like, judging the quarterback on Chicago Bears football and how that's run is just you know it's going to work. You know, even Stevie Wonder knows that's not going to work out. There's no quarterback that's ever going to work out here in Chicago. It's just not going to happen, okay? Not even Justin Fields.
I still think they should have tried to get Deshaun Watson, but
hey, Deshaun Watson wasn't going to have the same amount of success as he is in Houston. It's just
true.
Let's go to the next one here from Chris, a good brother. How about this, real quick? What prediction signing for NFL free agency next week? It could be anybody, any position.
Ooh. Well, they're saying Amari Cooper's about to get dealt, so I think Amari Cooper's going to get. Huh?
He's not a free agent.
Oh, were they going to trade him?
I heard something about them releasing him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they release him, then he would be a free agent. So, I think he's got to be Amari Cooper. I mean, he is incredible wide receiver. So I'm not surprised that the Cowboys are doing something stupid, but I'm not surprised at all. But I think it's going to be Amari Cooper.
Tony, how about you?
I gotta agree with Brother Carter on this. It's, when it comes to free agency in football, it's almost like it moves in stages. You got, stage A, stage B, stage C, but it's got to be Amari Cooper. There's just something about him where, he's got to be a fit on a team that's got to progress. And he's got to be right now, as far as free agency goes, he's got to be on that list right now. And if he doesn't get at least a pair of rings by the end of his career, it's a damn crime.
Agreed.
Pat, good.
Yeah, make it a clean sweep. I think I'm going to jump on the bandwagon of Brother Carter and Tony and say Amari Cooper. I agree with Tony on the fact that if he doesn't get some jewelry on his hands before the end of his career, it's a travesty. I don't know if he has a hotline to, my former quarterback and Mr. Brady about, maybe going to Tampa Bay and getting some more rings. But I think as long as Amari Cooper gets to a team that has a good shot at getting deep in the playoffs, hello Chiefs, hello, even Bills, because the Bills are, up and coming now. They're making deep runs as well. He could be, that wild card, so to speak, that pushes a team over the top.
Yeah,
I was gonna say really quick, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Rams because they signed a lot of 1-year deals, and I was just looking up. You think of somebody like Von Miller, like they just brought him for a year and he's now on free agency. I mean, yes, he just got a ring, he got a chip, but is he after another chip or is he after the dollars? Like, I mean, now they're getting Russell Wilson, but so who knows? Well, I'm sorry. I'm getting my teams mixed up here, but watch out for Von Miller was with Denver and now he's in LA, but I'd say just watch out for some of the Rams free agents that they signed to 1-year deals.
Yeah, OBJ is going to be a free agent as well. I don't know if people are going to rush to sign him only because he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, so you got to wait for that and see what he wants to do next and like where he wants to go. Also, I'll throw this out there for Pat. I think there could be a good chance that Allen Robinson goes to the Patriots, so I'll throw that out there. If they
won't be upset by it.
No.
If you want a top quality wide receiver, he could be a good guy for you. Let's see. Let's go to the next one.
Wait a minute, Bischoff. I have a question here for you, Mr. Chicago Bear.
Okay.
How do you feel about Khalil Mack going to the Chargers?
I'm happy for him that he's going to be in a competitive division and he's in a good team. Him and Bosa paired up with each other is going to be a good 1-2 punch, especially now you got a more quarterback-heavy division. I kind of feel bad for Derek Carr. I'll say that. Sorry, Adam. It's just not going to be good for the Raiders' offensive line. But, that's going to be petty. Khalil back twice a year in the AFC West. That's going to be messed up. But I'm not upset by it. I look at it realistically, and we have a new general manager here. We got a new coach, and this roster is not good enough. I put it out on Twitter earlier today. It's not good enough. It's not sustainable enough with the guys that were bigger name stars that are still on our defense and aging. And Khalil Mack is 31 years old. We weren't going to do anything in 2022, whether we had a bunch of cap space for free agency or not. We weren't going to do anything if Khalil Mack was here in 2022 or not. So for me, I'm happy for him that he's going to be in competing because that's another guy. Like you guys were talking about Mark Cooper. There's no reason why Khalil Mack should not have a chance to win a Super Bowl. So I'm happy for him. I'm not really as upset as people would think. I just know this is going to be a step back and then more of a retooled and rebuild going into the next season. So that's my thoughts on it.
Just wanted to know, being a broadcast journalist, that's all.
Thank you, Shivani. All right, next question.
Them just fighting words right there.
Okay. I will make a note on that right there.
This was a personal question for Chris. He said, "Have you checked out Noor's podcast called Drink Champs? I highly recommend it." No, I haven't yet, Chris. I'm always open to checking out new podcasts to clear my head because I believe you can call it such selfish whatever, but I think this is one of the few wrestling podcasts that's actually worth listening to each week, and there's like 400 of them, and even I need a break from wrestling podcasts and stuff. So I'll definitely go check that out. I'm always open to listening to new podcasts and stuff. So I will say that. All right, next one. Where do you see ROH going under Toy Chest Tony? And then he directs this to you, Tony. So you're the ROH guy. Get your thoughts on this.
In the immortal saying of Krusty the Clown when he gets aggravated.
That's a good one. So good. That's a good one.
It's the biggest in wrestling right now. Because here's the problem with Ring of Honor. Right now, everything goes to Super Card of Honor in April. Yep. Because we're going to have, Swerve's going to be on the card. There's going to be finally a match to determine one undisputed Ring of Honor World Champion. Briscoes are going to be defending the World Tag Team Championship. If they're champions at the time, that's supposed to be there. But what's going to happen after that And here's the thing with that. Nothing against Ring of Honor, but because of the Samoa Joes, the CM Punks, the Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielsons, the Desmond Wolfe, Nigel McGuinnesses, those that cultivated Ring of Honor elevated it to a certain level where people were able to take over. You know, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, people who are in AEW now. So right now, there's two distinct fan bases of Ring of Honor that are both tied to what we remember Ring of Honor as and what Ring of Honor should be. My thing is, do we even know what AEW is?
Not the time for it, but you know my answer.
No. The reason why I say that,
Yep.
the reason why I say that is because when you're owning a professional wrestling company, you have to build an identity over time. Ring of Honor has already done that in 2 decades. So any monumental changes that are made to Ring of Honor could either A, turn some fans away, or B, damage its long-term identity. And as far as what might happen with, Tony Khan, with Ring of Honor, okay, great. He bought the IP, he bought the intellectual property, he's bought the video library, he's bought the rings. But like Eric Bischoff said with WCW, you can buy the rings, you can have the intellectual property, you can have the video library, but without the TV time, WCW is like $20. So
yeah,
Ring of Honor and now that they're not on Sinclair, they have to have television to survive. And the problem is, how can you have television to survive when the owner of the company when the owner of Ring of Honor is owning another professional wrestling company? That's a conflict of interest. So the real question with Ring of Honor is, I don't know. And that's the only way I can put it. Are titles going to be, merged or taken out of context where, we could probably simplify titles? Yes. Are some of the roster going to be, cut? Yes. But other than Super Card of Honor, the future is uncertain for Ring of Honor. And that's a bad thing, in my opinion.
Conflict of interest is something that just never ceases to amaze me when it comes to Toy Chest Tony as Chris.
Chris, we need to trademark that, pal.
That's right. But here's the thing with Ring of Honor, and me and Brett Carr talked about this last week. You basically bought your own wrestling style. Everybody that you
imported it.
That you see their top stars there came from there. And I like Ring of Honor. Me and Tony did actually a rewind of a Ring of Honor match a little while ago. I think it was the day after Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. That was a good time. But here's the thing. Are you going to hire people to do your content work digitally for Ring of Honor? Are you going to hire new staff, referees? Are you going to keep the announce team you have? Are you going to keep Bobby Cruz?
You better be keeping Bobby Cruz.
Like, I don't know what more incentive that Tony Khan has to have Ring of Honor than pats on the back for Seltzer. And that's the vibe I get from it. Brett Carr, go ahead.
I was just saying that to me, that's exactly what it is. It's just like, look what I've done. Look at this empire I'm building. As competitor, a Mark who is building a wrestling empire because he's playing with his daddy's money. That's exactly what this is at this point. I've heard rumors that they're going to turn Ring of Honor into AEW developmental. So, like, what does that mean?
Oh, come on!
I've read. I mean, this is.
I've read that too. That's ridiculous.
And I'm like, so are they going to turn Ring of Honor into AEW Dark? Like, is that what it's going to become? Are they going to put Ring of Honor on their YouTube show? Like, there isn't enough time for the talent that they currently have to be on television every week. 2 weeks ago was the first time we saw Ricky Starks on Dynamite in 6 weeks. Like, wrestle on Dynamite in 6 weeks. Like, what are they going to do with all of this now new wave of talent that they're going to bring in? Like, there just isn't enough room for every. We'll talk about this more in the segment, but
oh my god!
But I mean, like, there just isn't. At some point, something doesn't add up. Either the money's going to run out, there isn't enough time for everybody. Like, something is got to give at some point,
Or a mass exodus.
right?
Yeah, this right here reminds me of the infamous invasion angle from WWE and WCW, where what you had was you imported, air quoting imported, a lot of
Right.
WCW guys into WWE, and you had this like really bad storyline for about six, 7 months. And then what you did was you phased out all the WCW titles, and you just made the WWE titles that important. And I think that is just a very humongous slap in the face of Ring of Honor, quite honestly, because
And convoluted professional wrestling history in the process.
exactly, and Ring of Honor made its name by just being the standout out of everybody else and building its own identity. And Tony, to your point, having what is this doing for Ring of Honor if they don't do anything else? My personal feeling is Tony Khan just bought Ring of Honor and all the IP just to have something for him to own that has some sort of value in the wrestling business. It's he doesn't have anything else to go after right now. And the one thing, and I watched on YouTube the CM Punk post match revelation speech, and he said that if anybody had to buy Ring of Honor, he's glad that Tony Khan bought it and not Vince, because he doesn't want Vince to own any of his matches and any of his time. So that right there, I think it.
What the hell are you talking about? My name's not Vince, and I own a whole bunch of CM Punk stuff. So there's nothing wrong with that.
But I think it's more along the lines of just owning it to own it. I think it's something just for them to have, and hopefully they don't go ahead and utilize it as making it a, dare I say it, AEW's version of NXT.
Season 1.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, guys. And I've learned this a lot in school, and I think a lot of us know, just observing business in general. You don't make moves off of what other people are doing. Like, everything I see from AEW is something related to the WWE. But I thought AEW didn't want to be WWE. But we'll say that for later on. Let's get to the next question.
Sneak preview.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We got 2 more questions here from Chris. He says, who should Hangman Page's next challenger be for Double or Nothing? Let's start with Pat.
I would say I would run it back and say do another one with Adam Cole, baby. Run it back.
Okay.
Why not?
Brother Carter?
They're not doing Stadium Stampede, right?
God, I hope not.
Go ahead, Brother Carter.
Your boy, Josh. I think it's got to be your boy.
Charles Montgomery Punk?
That's exactly who I got. It's as much as he annoys me, and we've talked about this at length, I can't deny that he is one of the absolute best in professional wrestling right now. I've got Punk.
Go ahead.
Charles Montgomery Punk right now. Well, okay, let me just say this. So it's between 2 people right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going through the AEW website here, looking at upcoming events here. It's between really 3 people. Charles Montgomery Punk. It is between Maxwell Jacob Feinstein Friedman or Wardlow. Only because Wardlow got that sonic ring. And as everybody knows, Wardlow signed a contract that everything that Wardlow gets goes to MJF. So MJF could sneak into a title shot with Hangman Adam Page. But right now, to echo Brother Carter's point, with all the momentum that CM Punk has had right now, the fans aren't saying it, but CM Punk with one more reign as world champion of any kind,
Awesome.
it would drive the people insane. And that's my pick right now.
Can you imagine that pop if he wins the title at Double or Nothing? Like, that would just be...
If he wins it in Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. The pop for him would be probably 10 times the pop that he got when he won the title from Cena at Money in the Bank.
Or you could just give a title match to Dante Martin, because apparently why the hell not? I mean, give one to Darius Martin. Give one to, Nick Bockwinkel or whatever the hell his name is.
Nick Bockwinkel.
Whatever, Nick Cagarano.
Nick Camaroto?
Yeah, that guy. Just give it to whoever.
All right.
Austin Guns. Give it to whoever, because apparently it doesn't matter.
Can we give it to Rick Knox? He has nothing else to do around here.
No, Luther's Pentago, okay?
Oh.
All right. For me,
Nick Bockwinkel.
I couldn't remember his name.
There's one that I want, and then there's reality. I think they're probably going to go with Adam Cole because it seems like every other angle in AEW is like, oh, do you want to be my friend?
Yeah.
Are you my friend or not? Are you my friend? So I think it's be either Adam Cole or who I think it should be MJF, because they already proved that wins and losses don't matter. Hell,
Right.
Adam Cole just lost the Pockets a couple weeks before Revolution, and now so why can't MJF fight Hangman at Double or Nothing? Because so that'd be my pick. Last one here for Chris. We do have a lot of questions that we get through really quick. So most of us expect the Hardys to win the AEW tag titles at some point. They haven't won the IWGP tag titles. I'll take this one. Can we see that happen in this final Hardy Boys run? I say no, only due to COVID, and the Hardys still have young families. I just don't see them going to Japan anytime soon. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm gonna say no. Keep New Japan as pure as possible. Nope.
Unfortunately, if that happened, that would make tag team in New Japan obsolete.
Yes.
Obsolete.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, before we get to the next question, Pat, can you do your Bane impression for us?
My main impression?
Your Bane.
Oh. Putting me on the spot again. Yes, Mr. Lopez. I have made another appearance there. Hello, Brother Carter. We meet again, sir.
Oh, yes, I'm quite.
Yes.
We do meet again.
It's been a very long time on another program.
I believe it has been about 6 years, since you and I have met on this battlefield known as the Internet Wrestling Community.
Yes.
Yes, I'm quite.
Yes. How is your mother? Oh, that's right. She's still dead.
All right, let's go to the next question. We try more theories.
If you get that reference from 6 years ago, then we're good. If not, then
well done. AEW isn't the only one that can assume that everybody knows what happened 20 years ago. All right,
exactly.
Next batch of questions here comes from the good brother Sam Piopo at Second City Sam.
Sam.
You think I have no filter? This guy has no filter.
Sam is one of the best dudes around.
Yes. All right, first one. Compare the vision of the show from episode 1 to episode 300. What's different?
Josh is crying in episode 300.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
I'll say I think the vision has remained the same. I mean, Pat, you've been here for the entire time. I think we've been, for the most part, consistent for what the initial goal is.
It's been 84 years.
What do you think? You think has it changed, or are we kept it?
You pretty much stayed the course. I think when you started with Adam. I mean, again, to your point from when you started the show, this has been kind of like just the relaxed back porch kind of podcast where you're creating a comfortable environment where anybody can come in and all opinions are welcome. It's not, you have to have this certain opinion. It's ping pong back and forth with everything. You and Brother Carter, you and Tony, you and myself, you and Adam, you sir are a very welcoming type of host. And I think that is one of the best things that we can be said about you is the fact that you just appreciate everybody that comes on, and you, no matter who it is, what kind of opinion it is, you roll with it and just do a very great job of just being a very welcoming host.
I appreciate that, Matt. That means a lot. I'll say I can't disagree. I'll say this.
Breaking news: Josh is about to cry again.
No, I got it out. I'll say this. I feel like for me, obviously there's been changes. There's been times when it was just me and Adam going on. Maybe that's probably the only thing that's different. But even then, I still kind of feel his presence, and I try my best to bring that comedic wit that he brought to the show, even if he's not here. So, like, honestly, like there were shows that we would just talk about Lincoln Park and Gotham and a bunch of random shit. We always make references to mall rats and a bunch of other stuff just to crack people up while going on. Because, like, I mean, if you listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts today, they're very sterile. Like, you know what they're going to sound like I mentioned in the beginning. Like, you know the whole routine. And
they are very cookie cutter.
Yeah, very cookie cutter, yes. Or you could be like JD in New York and pretend to pop a blood vessel every time you record the show. But
jeez.
Let's go to we keep it 100 here. That's one thing I'll say here on the show. We don't play gimmicks. We keep it true to form here, pal. That's a great question, Sam. I appreciate you asking me that one. This is an interesting one here. What is your opinion on over-the-top gimmicks in NXT? Like Wendy to Tony D'Angelo, how's the gabagool? How your family? How your family? Keep it moving. Tiffany Stratton and etc. Also, I want to, as an honorable mention Andre Chase, a guy who also is a very good professor at DSU as well. So I like to mention that as well. Anybody can take this as they want. I don't know how much you guys have been catching up on 2.0. Who, for the over-the-top characters, have stood out to you the most?
I'm going to have to yield to the other two gentlemen because I am not that far up on 2.0.
I'm not too far up, but I will say when Cameron Grimes was doing his stuff with the money stuff, when he was doing all that stuff, that was outstanding. That was great. It was over the top, but it was awesome. So, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of NXT 2.0. Is he still doing a lot of that stuff, or I'm not even sure what Cameron Grimes is doing right now?
Yeah, he does. I think he's been more serious on his wrestling than he was over the top, but Cameron Grimes is a good character. I'll just say that. I don't know what's up with Grayson Waller basically ripping off Shane McMahon's entire career. The outfit, the shimmy, the elbow drop. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He's a good athlete and all, but boy, do you tell me you want to be a Meek Mahan? Like, can you make it more obvious, pal? I'll say this. I like Tony D'Angelo. I like Bob characters. Actually, this is something that people don't know about me. I really like movies like The Black Mass and Sopranos and Departed and stuff like that. I enjoy those Italian movies. Hey, I'm half Italian. This is what it is. I'm a Paisan. So I enjoy that mafia style shit, and I like his gimmick. He's very good. Also, shout out to Tiffany Stratton. Very good waterfall. I will say that does approve on the list. The vortex of waterfall. And Wendy too, I'll give her credit. Originally she was Mei Ying. You guys don't know, she did the whole thing with Xia Li and Boa where she wasn't saying anything, and that was her, that little outfit she was rocking with on stage. Now she's the new character where she's like baby face. She pretends that she's sleeping. Unlike Orange Cassidy, she could wrestle. and she's good as a female wrestler, so I will say that. So shout out to
Shots fired.
Let's see. Next question for Sam. All-time favorite tag team matches from all promotions that you cover. I guess I had to take this one since the director.
Jeez.
Man.
We may be here a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not for all time. I'll just mention it recently. Okay. I'll say for WWE is the triple threat tag match that we saw for Raw this past Monday night. As far as stuff that I've seen this year, the three-way that we saw from Alpha Academy, RKO, RK Bro, and then Rollins and Owens is the best tag match that WWE's done this year. Outside of Imperium against MSK, one of the NXT specials that they did as well. So those. Also, I want to throw in Pretty Deadly and Mustache Mountain for NXT UK for those who watch NXT UK. So those are the ones off the top of my head. AEW, oh boy, we could. We could be here for days because I'm trying to find a good one, not a good one. Oh shit.
Next.
I'll say this: CM Punk, Darby Allin, and Sting against FTR and EDGF. I enjoyed that match a lot. I thought that was good. For New Japan, it's Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. against Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto from Wrestle Kingdom this year. I thought it was a fantastic match. You guys should check that out. NWA, check out Team War. If you guys have heard of it, it's a cool concept. Basically, you have an elimination match. You start off with people, and then once you're eliminated, the other person in your team can come in and participate. So the match continues on. It's a continuous elimination type of match. So that's the one that stands out the most to me for those ones off the top of my head. MLW doesn't really have that much of a great tag division. It's a lot of lucha, just sloppy wrestling and making the rest look stupid. So I had to exclude them from this list, unfortunately. And then for Impact Wrestling, I'll say I thought the match with the Good Brothers and Violent by Design was pretty decent from Sacrifice the other night. So I thought that was good. So those would be my.
There was one from a few years ago that I still remember being one of the finest tag matches I've ever seen from NXT, which was DIY versus the Revival. I still remember that as one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen. That was just incredible. So shout out to those guys. That was great.
Yes. All right. Next question for Sam. He says, is there any scenario that you see Dolph Ziggler retaining the NXT title at Stand and Deliver? Let's, in the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, hell no.
Whoa! Oh, swerve! Oh,
whoa!
Okay. Josh. Nice.
Wait, Swerve's here?
Hey, where's Beef at? I need her waterfall.
Wow. Wow. So that is hell no on the Zigzag Man.
It'll be a good match, but I don't think Dolph will retain. By the way, I don't have an issue, with him winning the title.
I don't either.
I say this every week with wrestling, especially when it comes to WWE. I think over the years since I've been covering the industry, I've got to get to the point where I understand what I'm watching with each show. I know what I'm looking for each show because I know what their identity is. AEW is a fucking circus, so I can't figure it out. So, but when it comes to WWE, I figured out that the results and the stuff like that matters booking-wise or entertaining-wise. The important stuff happens on the pay-per-views. Yes. Everything that happens on Raw or SmackDown going into it is plot points. It's window dressing. So I don't have an issue with Dolph Ziggler winning the title. It gets people talking, and I don't mind that wrinkle. Actually, I wouldn't mind if NXT interacted more with Raw and SmackDown's rosters going on through the rest of the year. So, what's your guys' thoughts?
It's having Dolph Ziggler win that can hopefully give a little bit energy and kind of a bit of a boost to NXT 2.0. I know there's been a lot of people, and I admit I have not really watched a lot of NXT since it became 2.0. But it gives a little bit more of experience, I guess. So as they're trying to build up their next generation of stars, you got Dolph Ziggler, who's an incredible worker. Everything he does is gold. And so, you have him come down, kind of work with some of the new up and coming talent that's going to be coming up. And hopefully we see on Raw and SmackDown eventually. I think it's a great thing. Like you said, Josh, it's new. People are talking about it. I think it's great. And I'm actually okay with him having a long reign past Stand and Deliver. I don't see why not.
I can't agree with you anymore, Brother Carter, because when it comes to the business, I know. Thank you. Don't say that ever again in public. No, when and in the professional wrestling, it's all about moving up to that next level. No pun intended. And when it comes to the NXT Championship, that has to be okay for Collateral. Dolph Ziggler's tag team partner, Bobby Roode, he was an NXT champion at one point, and that. When it was developmental, that elevated him to the main roster. Now, a lot of WWE fans at the time, they're not familiar with Bobby Roode from TNA or Impact Wrestling and how much of a great talent he was there. But the NXT Championship was used as an elevation tool to either get the title holder up to that next spot or to get the challengers in that position and be like, okay, I think you're ready to move forward. And I think Dolph is that barometer. And there's a lot of Dolph Ziggler fans out there, including myself, that when it comes to Dolph, when it's an angle that is important, people care about it.
Yeah.
And, a couple of years ago, Ziggler and The Miz, and he'll put his career on the line, and people paid attention to that. So Dolph Ziggler can put his heart into everything, even when it doesn't make sense to the majority of us. But Dolph Ziggler being that barometer to get to that next level, where it could be people like maybe Tommaso Ciampa in the future, even though I'm directly against it. People like Braun Rechsteiner, people like him, or maybe somebody else who we haven't been paying attention to. That could be a barometer to get to that next level. I have no problem with it. And I think right now that's where it needs to be. And that it's kind of like that break through from, you're in that 2.0, you're going to that next level. Okay, you're going to beat somebody who's, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, he's been there, he's seen it all, he's done it all.
Heck, good.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, when NXT got rebranded and relaunched as 2.0, my first thought was, okay, so we're taking it away from what it's been established as, because when it first came out, it was the developmental brand, and then when Triple H got it and nursed it, and it was his baby, then it became its own name.
It.
Yeah, and it was, for a time, it was actually looked at very briefly as a true third brand to WWE. Now, in Vince's vision of this, if he is trying to make it a true third brand again, or even if he's just trying to make it developmental, I do like the fact that Ziggler and Roode came back down to 2.0, and they weren't really doing anything on Raw anyway. They weren't really challenging for the tag titles. They were kind of just lost in the shuffle, and for Ziggler to come down, make his way into a main event match, win the championship, I think is amazing. And I think he can elevate some other people. And I think that, contrary to what you think, Josh, I do think that he should retain the title past Stand and Deliver.
Yes.
And maybe even have it at least another, 1 or 2 months, maybe even to is Great American Bash in May or June. Maybe have it all the way to Great American Bash?
Possibly. They kind of switch up what type of specials they want to do. They don't do a lot of like the TakeOver Peacock exclusive shows. We'll have to see. I think it's probably going to be more of like a USA special more than anything.
Probably.
But you think about some of the matches he can have with folks like LA Knight, and imagine Roode against Gunther. Like that would just be that would be incredible. I mean, you look at some of those kinds of matches, with eventually if Gunther eventually goes for the NXT championship, like that would just be incredible. So I mean, contrary, like I know people complain about booking all the time, but if it leads to good wrestling, who cares? Like, oh exactly. God, this is terrible. We're going to see great wrestling matches. God damn it. You know, like
Yeah, I didn't start watching wrestling for fucking 30 years for a pencil and a notepad of who's going over or not. I want the booking or whatever, the real action. What really matters is what's inside that 20 by 20 ring, inside the ropes. That's what matters at the end of the day. Next question. I'll take these next two because we got to speed this up really quick. This is more Bears related. With NFL transactions heating up, who's on your Bears wish list? And at number 6, where do you want to see Mitch Trubisky sign now that the Commanders are not an option? Really quick on the Bears wish list. I like to see him go after Teron Armstead. There's a couple of really good offensive linemen that are out there. We need to replenish this offensive line if we're going to go anywhere anytime soon. So anybody that's available, I know Trent Brown is also a free agent as well. I know he's kind of getting up there in age, but I'll take anybody at this point. Hell, even Jason Peters was one of the few good players that we had last season. He was 41 years old. So, oh man. All right, I see it, Pat. Yeah, I see it in the chat. All right. For as far as Mitch Trubisky is concerned, I do want to say I have 2 teams. Okay, I have 2 teams I think can work out for him. One is with the Colts.
That's a good option.
You look at, Jimmy G went to the Super Bowl while the 49ers were just running the football all the time. I'm not saying that Mitch Trubisky is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. You can have debates if you want to, but I think it can work. They have a good offensive line, and Mitch is more athletic than Philip Rivers was a couple years ago. The Colts made the playoffs with him a couple years ago. And Carson Wentz, he's the only football player I know that can sprain his ankles. Both his ankles on the same play. So, what are we really judging here? So, I say either the Colts, and then just for trolling purposes, because I want to see Mitch succeed, I want him to go to Pittsburgh. That's the second option for me. I think that'd be pretty cool if he balls out with Mike.
That would be an interesting choice.
Hey, if Mitch Trubisky could succeed in Pittsburgh, that'll show you how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. Throwing it out there. He already is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't think he gets enough flowers as far as I'm concerned. Sure. So shout out to Mike Tomlin and the Yinzers down there. By the way, if you want some funny clips, go check out E. Yinzer, who's an old Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's where I get the old Don and all the stuff that you hear from the Pat McAfee show. I get it from that guy. That guy's fucking hilarious. He just does reactions to Pittsburgh games. It's pretty funny. Follow him on Twitter at E. Yinzer on Twitter. All right, next question from Sam here. He says, with Ricochet and Finn Balor as mid-card champions, do you ever envision them getting bumped up to World Title picture down the road? I only see that if it's ever going to get to the point where Raw and SmackDown are not split. I think you need an actual brand split to no, you don't need a brand split for those guys to get to that point. So that'd be my answer to that question. What do you guys?
I think if you were going to put the heavyweight title back on Finn, you would have done it by now. Right. I think honestly, the Demon persona was the best chance for him to do it, and since Roman beat the Demon, I think that has now basically been dead and gone.
That's, to be fair though, that's not really, Roman's destroying everybody right now. So that's not really a fair, to use a Tony word, a fair barometer of where Finn Balor is, because Roman's going to destroy everybody in his path. And
hell, the tribal chief would put down Thanos.
Correct.
Yes, he would.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
What about you guys?
If it would be on anybody, I'm make mine quick because it's really brother Carter's show. If it was really to be anybody, thank you. Yes. If it was really going to be anybody, if they would have done it with Finn, they would have done it by now. I think Pat's absolutely right. I think that the Demon, you kind of had it in the palm of your hand. It would have been interesting to have a world championship on somebody with that kind of presence, a different kind of presence, a different kind of personality, bringing to the table as world champion. Ricochet, I'm still kind of up in the air about that. because it's kind of been, a little 50-50, a little bit here, a little bit there. Hasn't really been one straight projection as to where their belief would be in him. Right. And not saying that he's a fantastic athlete, but the direction that they have with him, it's not 100% in that direction, at least not yet. It could be still out there, but I think if it would have been with anybody, it would have been Finn, or as I call him, Prince Devitt.
Tony, just quick follow-up. Do you think it's possible that they're just not sure how to use Ricochet? Like they're not sure how to use him as, obviously he's an athlete, great athlete. Obviously he can wrestle. That's not a problem. But right. They just don't know how to use him as a character in development. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of other people that fall into that same category. And, that's no fault of Ricochet's or anybody else's who falls into that category. It's a different kind of, yes, it is a professional wrestling company, but they're looking for, X, Y, Z. They're looking for that kind. And we're not saying that he can't do it, but it's a different kind. It's not like, WWF, 20 years ago when all you're really focused on is wrestling. There's so many other barometers. So I think that, with so many other people that fall into that category, and as the internet wrestling fans, we want to see, it's almost like, hey, you had Ricochet in the original NXT. Why can't he be like that on the main roster? And on the main roster, it is such a different can of worms there. But, not saying that he can't. I mean, the fact that he's Intercontinental Champion now is a big deal. And the possibility of him going to WrestleMania, whether he defends it or not as Intercontinental Champion, is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I want to give shout out to Pat. He mentioned us in our private chat here that he had to head out, but I want to thank Pat for coming on and taking the time to come on. So I appreciate you, brother. You are the man. All right. We got a lot of questions, but it's the big show. So we'll get through these questions as we can. Next one here. He says, what was your reaction to Vince McMahon on Pat McAfee last week? I'll let you guys start off.
I mean, I just, from what I saw a few clips of it. That's awesome. Like the fact that this was Vince's first live interview on a program like this in 15 years, I think is incredible. And it proves WWE is all in on Pat McAfee. Like they recognize that he is a part of the WWE family now. I mean, he's getting a chance to wrestle at WrestleMania. I think he's the best commentator in pro wrestling right now, and it's not close, is Pat McAfee. So WWE is all in on Pat McAfee, and I think this Vince McMahon interview just solidified that fact. But I thought it was great. I love the clip about Michael Cole. God, awful human being. I thought that was hilarious.
Such a horrible person.
That was awesome.
To see Vince McMahon in that element, because a lot of wrestling fans only see Vince as this, kind of the real life Mr. McMahon, where I'm gonna fire this person, I'm gonna fire him, I'm gonna fire a whole bunch of these people, and he's just gonna be on that tower. Like you never expected Vince McMahon, wearing sneakers by the way, to be in that kind of setting with Pat McAfee. And I thought it really gave the current fans, not people like us who've been watching it a time or two, but for current fans to really get into that side of Vince McMahon, to kind of get into that glimpse of, okay, how does he feel about this? For Pat McAfee to ask him about the competition, to ask him about AEW, and how does he feel about them, and how his business model, and to see Vince, as the interview continued, began to open up and began to really show, that kind of, lightheaded side, would crack a joke with, about Michael Cole. So, yeah. and to your point, Derek, they're all in on Pat McAfee, because if they weren't, why would Vince McMahon even do the interview?
Right. Absolutely.
And I thought it was great. It's already reached, if not surpassed, 1 million views on YouTube already. So that
1.2.
Yeah. So if that doesn't show the power of not just, Vince McMahon, and even if it was 45 minutes, for people to get that glimpse of Vince McMahon, but also Vince McMahon thinks that highly of Pat McAfee that he would go on McAfee's show and open himself up like that. I thought it was well done, honestly. And I'm glad that we don't get this more from Vince. I'm glad we don't get this, because I think if we did, a lot of people wouldn't appreciate it.
God damn, pal. You want me to go to fucking Indiana? For me, I learned a lot from what Vince was saying, and a lot of stuff about business and stuff. Kind of relates to just how he goes about things, and he was talking about not looking back. If he could survive the stuff he went through, nobody could touch him.
Right.
And, he's like he says, he's open to competition. He thrives on people doubting him, and I could definitely say that I could relate to Mr. Meek Mahan for saying that. And also, just like you guys said, I honestly think that Pat McAfee has the best overall talk show that's out there for any sports related, just entertainment in general. I think Pat does an amazing job with that. So that's my thoughts on it. Really quick, so we wrap up Sam's question, then we'll go to Nate. These are three questions here to wrap it up. Better Chicago tradition, dye in the river green for St. Patty's Day or taste in Chicago? I'll say St. Patty's Day, because being in that downtown area, Chicago, Burkhardt, you've been here a couple of times. It's one of the best views in the entire world. Downtown Chicago is beautiful, especially during the good times of the year where it's not snowing, all this shit. But see that Green River or something. I'm not even Irish. I'm not like a big like St. Patty's like type of fan or whatever. But that'd be my pick. Taste of Chicago, it is what it is. I already know we got good food here, so I don't need to go to a festival to confirm that. You know what I mean? Next question. Your biggest obstacle of your career. I'll definitely say it was right as I left WrestleMania, right before this podcast started. It was during that time period, because I didn't know if I wanted to continue on with this, and I'm glad that I did. And then the last question for Sam here, he says, would you do it all over again? In a fucking heartbeat. There's not one thing that I would not do over again, because it's been worth it these past 6 years. So I'll say that for sure. All right. Last batch of questions this week comes from Nate the Great. Shouts our boy at Psycho Nigiri, good friend of the Hoots Podcast and TV. No, my bad. Thou Shall Not Be Named podcast. That's going on my performance review.
Oh, God.
So, shout out to our guy, Nate the Great. I'm going to scroll down to find this, okay?
I think our guest is getting a bit triggered here, brother Adam.
No, I am good. I'm remembering that I have my own show.
You do have your own show. That's true.
Yes, I do.
Yes, damn good. Check it out, folks. It's called
Wrestling. Yes.
By the way, I got some jag off in the YouTube accounts mentioning Iraq. Please get out of here, man. I don't got time for that stuff. Get out of here.
Yeah, right.
All right, next question here for Nate. First one. What are your honest thoughts on control your narrative? Well, this should be interesting. I think that AEW is a WWE daycare center, and I think that control your narrative is a home for head cases and Donald Trump supporters. So that's my honest thoughts on control your narrative. There's one thing I learned in life: narratives are fleeting. People can have a narrative of whatever they want. The only thing that's real is what you know in your heart and the man upstairs. At the end of the day, those are the only two people that know the truth in your life. It's not the other way around. People can have a narrative about me. Nobody knows me better than myself and the man upstairs, and that's just a fact. So I'm glad that we have more promotions work it out for the boys and girls to get their name out there. But the whole concept where, oh, you're going to pay this amount of money to get in a separate room with Austin Aries to talk shit to him, it's just an odd business tactic and something I would want to partake in. So my thoughts are not very positive on Control Your Narrative. It's a collection of useless nimrods. They should call it CUN, Collection Useless Nimrods. So that's my thoughts on Control Your Narrative.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been following this too closely, but I guess I think two ways. One, I mean, props to them, to some ex-wrestlers who are giving it a shot. You know, I mean, I guess they're jumping on the new promotion bandwagon. So yay, striking while the iron is hot, I guess. I don't know. I mean, if not doing anything anyway, they might as well do something. So, you know, give them a shot. But the fact that you're calling your promotion Control Your Narrative tells you everything that you need to know about what the goal of the promotion is. It's not about to put out a great product. It's about to challenge, you know, it's just about challenging what's already out there, which means that the other companies are already living rent free in their head. So instead of just putting on a great product, they're trying to, you know, build off the names of other people. So again, props to them for giving it a shot. We'll see what happens, but the name has already kind of got me asking a lot of questions.
Really quick, because I know Tony will appreciate this. They should call it Control Your Napoleonism, because I think there's a lot of people with Napoleon complexes in professional wrestling, and those are rearing their head in Control Your Narrative. The floor is yours, reference.
I mean, you kind of just said it all for the people in the back. Like you know, both of you said, the fact that they're doing this means that they have some kind of passion or purpose behind it. You know, I wish them well. We'll see what happens. You know, apparently they have a TV deal or something like that. You know, whether that's true or not, but that's the reports that I read online, you know, within the last couple of weeks. So, you know, from their own. So we'll see what happens. You know, are they going to make a splash? We'll see. Let's see what they are able to make of it. You've already, you know, you've put your name out there. You've put your promotion out there. All right, you've got the ball rolling. Let's see what you can do with it. Let's see if you can make that little snowball go into an avalanche. Let's see if you can make it. You know, I wish them well.
We're gonna do a speed round right now. I'm just gonna ask a question. You guys give me quick thoughts, okay? What is your favorite storyline going on right now?
Tony?
Actually, you first. You're the co-host of the show.
Okay.
MJF Punk has been my favorite up to this point.
Yeah, I've got to put MJF Punk right there at the top of the list. Honorable mention, the Carmelo Hayes story.
Very good. I like that. For me, it's Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and then honorable mention be wrestling Twitter and reality. Next question, probably a dumb question, but how big of a deal is it for a wrestling company to have a TV deal? I think it's good, but it just depends on who's running your organization. That's my thoughts.
Same answer. When it comes to television, you can have the deal no matter how big or small, but if you don't have the right people behind the scenes ready and willing and able to get that product out so that the masses can enjoy it, TV time doesn't mean anything.
You can have a TV deal, but if nobody's watching, what difference does it make?
Might as well be on public access.
No, you got shows on TBS and TNT that's a dirt sheet charity case promotion. That's basically what it is, if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. So next question here from Nate. He says, just 1 second here. Damn computer. Should Josh Alexander be the next Impact World Champion? I'll say yes, but here's the thing. I think Josh Alexander should have still been the Impact Champion after Bound for Glory. Like, all due respect to Moose, I enjoy his work and stuff, but that whole cash-in thing after the whole year you're talking about, oh, we need to get the title off of somebody from AEW. You give it to Josh Alexander, and no, you do like a money to make cash. And after that, I just thought that was whack. So I think Josh Alexander should be the Impact World Champion, but he should have been it the whole time.
I got to agree with you on that. Just looking at the way, like you said, when the Call Your Shot was done, you were in a partnership with AEW that, unfortunately, to the interests of both parties, went absolutely nowhere. It didn't really benefit anybody for it. So, you had all this time to get the championship off of Kenny Omega, and it, then it ended up being Christian Cage. Josh Alexander takes it, and then right off the bat, you take it off him. It's like Josh's point, should have kept it on him to begin with.
Last 3 questions here for the podcast. You guys sent some awesome questions. I gotta give you guys a big shout out, of course, for the questions this week. Do you like celebrity involvement in WrestleMania? Yes or no?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it's because it's fresh and it's new. Like it's let's see what these folks can do. And if you get the right people in there, I think it's great. Like, I think this Johnny Knoxville stuff is going to be hilarious. I really think it's going to be really funny. And he seems to, especially if you get the right people in there that appreciate the business, like the business, can do stuff. Look at what happened with Bad Bunny last year. Like, that was awesome. And Bad Bunny can wrestle. Like, I want to see him in another match, not just a Royal Rumble appearance, but I want to see him in another match. So if you get the right people in there, I think it's awesome.
Tony?
I think with celebrities going to WrestleMania, I think we've gotten away from these celebrities just to say, I did this at WrestleMania. I think now we're at a position where we're getting people that actually have respect for the industry, have respect for the product, and actually want to put on a good effort. Bad Bunny, I think, reminded all of us of what it could be and really what it should be. Gone are the days of Snooki at WrestleMania. I think that Bad Bunny, I think, and kudos, Pat McAfee at NXT, even though it's not part of the question. Now the fact that he's going on at WrestleMania, we've seen him do what he did at NXT, so we know that he's going to put on a hell of an effort with Austin Theory. I think Johnny Knoxville, when it's not going to be that long at all, I think it's going to be, hilarious, and people are going to talk about it one way or the other. So as far as celebrities going at WrestleMania, it's all about bringing that casual fan in, and I think that's what they do.
We've had 37 WrestleManias, and I'm still surprised that people are flabbergasted that WrestleMania is not presented like Wrestle Kingdom. WrestleMania has never been Wrestle Kingdom. And
WrestleMania is WrestleMania.
Exactly. That's the charm of it. It's different. It is. We've been to WrestleManias. All of us here have attended WrestleManias in the past. There's nothing like it in entertainment. You can go to basketball games, go to concerts. Hell, I'm going to the Eagles concert on next Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a good time. But honestly, like, WrestleMania is something that you have to experience. It's not Wrestle Kingdom. It's not what WWE is founded on. It's not that type of show. Last 2 questions here for Nate as we wrap this up here. He says, when would you like to see MSK get called up to Raw or SmackDown? I think WWE needs more tag teams, more variety of tag teams. So I'll say after WrestleMania, if there's going to be anybody from NXT that does the call up, these air quotes here, call up, whatever, because I think that's a lazy way to describe it. But I think after WrestleMania would be my pick.
Yeah.
Yep,
it would have to be that. It would have to be after WrestleMania. But again, when it comes to the tag team divisions, there has to be, 5, 6, 7, 8 tag teams to build a division on each separate brand, and you've got to make it important. And the problem with bringing somebody up, somebody's got to go. So that's the only problem. But I say after WrestleMania. If that was the case, it would be after WrestleMania.
Yeah, brother.
I was just going to say, and I agree with Tony, you just got to be careful because, WWE can't get into the same problem that we talk about with AEW, is that there just isn't enough room on the show for everybody, and if you want to, and WWE is more akin to doing 2 and 3 minute matches, but like that, you don't have enough time to, they always say maximize your time on television, which, and Tony, you understand this, it being in the business, you have to maximize your time whenever you're out there. But there's only certain things you can do. You can only tell a certain type of story if you're out there for 3 minutes,
right?
So they just got to be careful. And I would hate to see a team like MSK, who's clearly incredibly talented, kind of get lost in the shuffle on either Raw or SmackDown. So if they're going to do it, they've just got to do it the right way.
Right. All right. Last question. Is Walter and Pete Dunne destined to be NXT lifers? I don't think so. It just depends on what they want to do. I wouldn't say that Walter and Pete Dunne are not having fun. They still find ways to be one of the most talked about parts of 2.0. If I'm not mistaken, him and Carmelo Hayes main evented NXT 2.0 a couple weeks ago. So
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I don't think they're destined to be lifers, but it's not a bad thing if they want to define that brand.
Hey, Tommaso Ciampa's been on NXT since for how many years now?
1800.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, Thomas Penmanship. Sorry.
But they can integrate them into the main show whenever they want. Like, look what they're doing with Ciampa. Right. So just bring them up every now and then, and the fans will know who it is.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine.
By the way, if there's somebody that needs to be acknowledged, is Gunther. He's the ring general. Put some respect on his name.
Ring general. Yes.
All right. Before we get to our main event segment, I'm going to run down the card really quick for WrestleMania. Just a reminder of what we have already announced so far. So we're not going to break this down.
You mean it's not Wrestle Kingdom?
No. No, we don't have 4 House of Torture matches in the span of 2 nights.
That's direct drive. Yes.
Oh my God, the Garrett.
Suzuki didn't do it for the Rock, Kevin. He did it for the KOPW.
Salute him. For what?
For what?
For those of them, I'm talking about bad luck following. So follow along with this scenario here. He's like,
Josh,
why? Because he participated in the war. What war? The war in Japan.
Before we get to
Japan, that's right.
Before we get over here, just bring me back in when y'all are done.
Yeah, but before we get to the updated card at WrestleMania, Josh, when you're in Dallas and when you're in Chicago for Windy City Riot, are you going to put your head down when Minoru Suzuki shows up?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
just making sure.
That's gonna be the first time I've seen Suzuki perform in person, so I don't know what that's gonna be like in person.
All I gotta say is God help the former Oni Lorcan, Biff Busick. He's got Minoru Suzuki in Dallas at WrestleCon.
Oof, my lord, that's gonna be fun.
He called his shot on Twitter. He said, "Give me Minoru Suzuki," and they're giving to him in Dallas.
Well, so. Nobody will ever confuse Biff Busick as somebody as the same person. So,
Hey, wait a minute.
All right, here we go. Night 1, as it's announced right now, we got Drew McIntyre against Baron Corbin, Mysterio's against Miz and Logan Paul. I think it's gonna be turned to match. People are like, "Oh, this is gonna be a talking segment." No, you're not bringing up 19 years multiple times in different ways. I think you're gonna have an actual match with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I do think that's gonna happen. And then you have Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, and then Charlotte Flair, the measuring stick, the female Triple H, if you will, of women's wrestling. She'll be putting her title on the line against Ronda Rousey. And I think those two are going to walk into WrestleMania with a chip on their shoulder. And the best WrestleMania matches have that trait going into that match. Don't believe me? Go ask Edge at WrestleMania 22 against Mick Foley, or Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21 as well. Another great match. For night 2, we have Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, Pat McAfee against the bitch made thirst trap himself, Austin Theory. We have
that's too much to fit on a nameplate, Josh.
Yeah, we have Queen Selena and Carmella, who's more fixed. well, for good reason. She's more paying attention to her wedding. They're putting their tags on a lot against Sasha Banks and Naomi and Rhea Ripley.
Josh, I'd like to make a correction. You said Sasha's name wrong. It is Overrated Banks. Continue.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, that's right. Okay. the Marty Jannetty of women's wrestling.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. You may continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So,
Oh man,
they're gonna fight Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. By the way, I think Rhea and Liv actually, if you want to talk about what could be a good tag team, those two actually could fit the bill of a good tag team. All right, next one, we have Edge and AJ Styles taking place on night 2. That's definitely a match I'm looking forward to transcribing, if you will.
rated P for phenomenal.
Yes.
Yes.
By the way, I love Edge's promo from Raw this past Monday night. I love the whole visual of everything. I just thought that was awesome. I'm on the Uptons, and the view is
Phenomenal.
great. So, and then of course we got the main event, your tribal chief against Brock Lesnar. It's put the ones up, folks. Put the ones up. It's when it take all. The biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Hey, it's promotion. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it's promotion.
It's not like AEW where you hear JR say, this is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, God.
The best pay-per-views I've ever seen.
After everything. Oh,
There's a correction there. It's not Brock Lesnar. That's B-Rock Lesnar.
Yeah,
Let's get that straight.
Cowboy
It is.
Rock.
Listen, hey, quickly. I love the new direction of Brock Lesnar.
yeah.
It's like you put Brock Lesnar from like 20 years ago and Brock Lesnar now. And you just put a picture of him going, this is Brock Lesnar. You can't believe that that's the same person.
Right.
But it's like it's new and it's fresh because you see Brock and everybody's followed him, but you see Brock and it's like it's so out of character for Brock for what we've known him as. The fact that he's speaking for himself and he's dressing the way he's dressing and it looks like he's having fun with it. And I totally dig that.
It once again quiets all the internet marks who claim to know everything that, Brock is a one-dimensional character and he ruins everything, Well, clearly, no, he's not a one-dimensional character. And we know he can flip a switch and go back to that one-dimensional character at a moment's notice.
And that one-dimensional character works.
Correct. He if you look at, everybody loves numbers and metrics, right? Look at all of the videos that WWE puts up on YouTube. Which wrestler gets the most?
That would be B-Rock Lesnar.
Correct. So
and because that one-dimensional side of Brock Lesnar, it not only works, but it makes money, and people pay to see it, whether it be UFC or WWE. Brock Lesnar is money, honey, and everybody knows that. At least the smart ones on this show do.
Don't forget the Brock Lesnar blend. He's in the seasoning business now. He's in the condiment business now. On that note, it's 9:28 here in Chicago.
All right.
We're about to get to what everybody's been waiting for.
Here we go.
Josh,
I'll get to Mark Hart in just 1 second. What might possibly be the biggest what the hell is wrong with AEW of all time. Brother Carter, the floor is yours.
Well, and Josh, as a segue into this, as we know, tonight there's been a lot of reminiscing. There's been a lot of looking back, memory lane. As we know, this show, right from its very beginning, from show one, has gone through a number of iterations over the years. There's been some personalities that have come and gone. There's been some segments that have come and gone. But I would like to play for you a clip, Josh, which I think may be the single most important moment in the 6 years that the Hoots Podcast has been in existence. I'd like to play this for you, which will also serve as the transition into this week's segment. Hopefully this will queue up. I believe it should. So let me make sure that we're all good to go, and allow me to please play for you this important piece of podcasting history.
I'm saving my thoughts for that match in this segment. Let's do it.
With Josh, it is now time for us to debut a new segment here, and we because this segment is going to be a recurring segment, I'd like to play you the new theme song. So now, here we go. It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Oh my god! I'm crying laughing right now.
Brother Carter, you've come up with some really good ideas over years. I think this year,
This might be top of the list.
It's so great. I had to give myself the greatest segment of all time, Josh.
Yes. On that note, it's time to give the people what they really want, not what Excalibur wants. It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. We're going to start off in a 3, 2, 1.
You got it?
Wait for it. Wait for it. And I think we got it. 1 second.
Beat your meat, 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 beat your meat.
Oh, well, we heard
Gosh, what the hell is wrong with AEW? Okay, where do we want to start? Do we want to start Revolution? Do we want to start? Where do we want to start?
Well, here's one thing. I'm not going to keep everybody here for 4 hours. This is not what this podcast is. I don't want to keep you guys
fine.
too long. But we are going to talk about Revolution. We're going to talk about a lot of things. And we got somebody here to partake in it for the first time. So I'm curious to hear what Tony has to say. But as the disclaimer goes, this segment is dedicated to those who think that AEW does absolutely nothing wrong. Tony Khan is the greatest writer of all time since Nicholas Sparks. And AEW is the greatest television show that's ever been aired. This show is about fact-checking and giving a dose of reality, if you will, to the wrestling universe out there. But we also talk about the stuff that we do like occasionally for the world of AEW, even though they're run by one of the most inept families in sports in today. So with that being said, it is time to get this bad one started. We're going to start off with AEW Revolution, or I should call it AEW Cap-olution. So you guys heard the set with Sir Jericho to start off the show. And there's been a lot of hyperbole when it comes to AEW Revolution this past Sunday. Shocker. Hyperbole, AEW. How can this be possible, guys? The greatest pay-per-view of all time. JR, every time there's a Dynamite, oh man, this is the greatest tag division I've seen in years. Him and Shivani should host a show based on hyperbole, because that's what they do basically on commentary. It's either JR dozes off doing a watch along commentary instead of doing play by play, and then he has Shivani doing a hyperbole shtick and then saying what Tony Khan says in his ear. Like, anybody that tells you that AEW doesn't do the same stuff as WWE, that's cap. Let's just throw that out there. Does anybody believe that Tony Khan doesn't shoot stuff into their ears when things are going awry or people are dozing off during the match? Oh man, this is a great match. Oh my God, I can't believe what a night! What a night, guys! Another fantastic Dynamite. It's kind of reaching Trump territory at this point with some of the rhetoric that they spew, because it's either Donald Trump or AEW that overuses the word great, because I don't actually know if they know what the word great actually is. It sure as hell ain't their fucking officiating crew.
Oh my, okay. Hey, gosh, that's the thing that honestly, and I'm not just saying this because Tony is here, that is the thing that I noticed the most about both Revolution and Dynamite this week, is just how shitty the officiating was. It was particularly bad at Revolution. And Tony, I want you to jump in on this too, but just a couple of small little things that I want to get to, and I want to get Tony's thoughts on this. So, number one, apparently biting is legal now in professional wrestling because they openly bit each other in front of the referee, and that was fine. You go to the women's title match. 3 separate times, somebody jumped. It was Rebel, jumped up on the apron multiple times during the match. And the referee did nothing about it. Just admonished it. Hey, go away, instead of tossing them away from ringside or something. Like, AEW has to address this officiating problem. It's horrible. Horrible.
I didn't know this was a new rule. I guess you can come up with new rules these days in wrestling. So what's this ever been legal where in a tag match, you tag somebody and then you tag somebody else in simultaneously? When has that ever been legal? When has that ever been implemented? And why the fuck does it be allowed? Like, there's one thing for cutting the ring in half, and then there's another thing making your referees look stupid. So every time I see Red Dragon do that 1-2 tag, or the Harley Boys do the 1-2 tag, and it happens definitely a lot during Aubrey Edwards and that Court's run.
There's 2 controversial figures if I've ever heard it on this show.
One needs VR goggles, and the other one just needs to admit that he's a fucking living zombie at this point. So, like, please explain to me, are rules supposed to matter in a company that promised that we're going to have sports-based wrestling, Mr. Tony?
Well, can I just put a small disclaimer?
Yes.
Please.
So, Josh has said on the show, many times, the whole referee Tony S thing. And I'd like to just clear up right now that the whole referee Tony S thing is not a gimmick. I've been doing this almost 20 years. So it's not something that, I just was a referee. Like, no, I've been in the ring with people that have gone to WWE or AEW. So I've been there. And here's the way I look at it. When it comes to AEW and their refereeing, you have to look at the broader picture. And that is, when it comes to refereeing, this is how most, not all, this is how most of the independent wrestling organizations feel about their referees as a whole.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, yes, WWE hires either professional wrestlers or whoever to play the role of a referee because it's casting. But when you take a look at AEW, at least WWE treats their referees seriously. In AEW's case, yes, they hired Paul Turner, who refereed Ring of Honor for almost the entire history of the company.
Right.
And Bryce, who's been doing indie shows, and he's well known around the circles. And Rick Knox is just PWG, and Aubrey Edwards, who's from the Pacific Northwest. But the way I look at it is, when it comes to referees, they're not it almost is like they are showing authority, and it's like, we're still gonna do our shit. It's get our shit in Central. And to me, that hurts the credibility of the product. The simultaneous tag, the bang bang tags, there's really none. I've never refereed any kind of matches where I've ever had that. The simultaneous, the bang bang tags, never had that. When it comes to the apron thing, the 2 words in AEW, referee's discretion. It is also the referee's discretion. Since they are on the apron, they are interrupting the pace and the flow of the match. So it is the referee's discretion, if need be, to eject that party from ringside. That's their discretion to do. Whether they do or don't, that's on them. Third thing is the whole biting thing. Hell no, biting's not legal. But it's continued to be done. Closed fists, I understand because it depends because with MMA, closed fists are legal, so you got to protect yourself. But other than that, biting's not legal. Eye gouging is not legal. There's a whole bunch of things. So I think when it comes to AEW, I think individually, because Paul Turner is the senior official. He's the head official of the company. Yep. But this is the way I look at it. If you, as AEW, brought in my opinion, the greatest referee of all time, if you brought in Mike freaking Chioda for 1 or 2 matches and he's not full-time with the company, you just brought him in, that's a problem. There's got to be somebody who is able to kind of help these referees kind of not really along, because I think they're all experienced, but I think they've got to work with the talent to work with the referees a little bit better. I think the fans are so conditioned to, we got to get their shit in, they got to get their shit in, and it'll be a great match if they get their shit in. That structure is out the door, and you have to have structure to make a great match. You can do all the tags and all the double team moves as it is, and it's great. But the grand scheme of things, why is it, to Brother Carter's point, why is the tag match between FTR and DIY so remembered today when Johnny Gargano's not with WWE or FTR's not with WWE? But why is the match remembered so fondly by people? Structure.
Yeah, exactly.
Very well said.
And rhyme or reason too to what you're doing. Just doing a bunch of pots that are just there. You're getting cheap pops. Like, people could say, like, insulting a city is a cheap pop. I look at cheap pop today as doing a sequence where it's tag, arm drag, somebody's out to the floor, let's do a Fosbury flop. Outside of the ring, somebody does a discus lariat to get that extra pop too. It's cheap. You're not doing anything. It's just moves. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's like a bad jazz player doing an endless saxophone solo where they're not on key, right?
Yeah.
But they're not on key, and you can't even follow up with the rhythm that they're trying to tell.
It like we'll make this quick. So in a band, the drummer has to go along with the beat. And when it comes to that, the drummer has to be on point. But the drummer also has to know that certain sections, he's got to bring the tempo up. Certain sections, he's got to bring the tempo down to match everybody else in the song.
You gotta
That's
listen.
right. That's where that comes in. And even in singles matches, tag matches, no matter what, yes, you have to gauge the crowd, but you also have to make sure that the referee is in lockstep with everybody in the matchup. Because if they're not, even if the fans don't see it or they don't recognize it, a match that was 5 out of 10 at the end could have been 7 or 8 out of 10 had there been structure. And I think over time, hopefully, there will be or could be some structure later on. But with a lot of people also, at least most places on the independents, and I've been a victim of this as well, it's like I said earlier, get your shit in Central, where they have to get their shit in, and at the expense of the referee. And the referee, to most talents, is in the match that's disposable, when in reality the referee is one of, if not the most important, because the referees bring structure. It's like in the UFC, where you have to have structure now in MMA matches. Go back to the early days of the UFC, when there were no structure in the early days of UFC, and it almost got kicked off of pay-per-view and got banned off of states.
But I will say,
because there was no structure.
really quick, I wanted to mention this really quick. When it came to Revolution, nobody here is saying that it's okay to be excited about pay-per-view. If you thought this is a great pay-per-view, more power to you. I'm not gonna come here and tell you or anything like that, but there's things that I just see through with AEW, and I feel like nobody wants to point it out because you're gonna get a bunch of blowback on Twitter,
right? And even
really quick, was like when we started this segment, I'm really proud about this segment because not only there's a lot of comedy into it, obviously, but it's also insightful too. Me and Brother Carter are trying to offer some advice in some ways because I can give off my observations from a transcript point of view and studying, and I covered every single AEW show that they produced since they started. And then you got Brother Carter, who's been watching wrestling for a long time and knows what an actual alternative looks like. You can call yourself an alternative, but your product says otherwise.
Right. And I'll just say this quickly. It's not, even though the segment is what the hell is wrong with AEW, everything that I just said in the last 5 minutes, every professional wrestling company in one way, shape, or form has been guilty of it.
Yep.
And they will continue to be guilty of it. So, yes, in the grand scheme of things, yes, could officiating be better across the board? Absolutely. Do I think that there's certain things that the referees should be protected against when it comes to certain professional wrestling, when it comes to matches and things like that? Absolutely. Do I also think as a whole the referees should be respected and treated as such and all that other stuff? You bet your ass I do. But in the scheme of things, like I said, and Josh said to his point, if you thought it was a good pay-per-view, absolutely. No problem with it. And that's its story. There's a specific type of professional wrestling for everybody. Most places will not readily admit that. So if you like AEW and if you like that pay-per-view, no problem, more power to you. But in the grand scheme of things, every professional wrestling company, not just AEW, is guilty of mistakes and guilty of it because the professional wrestling business is not a perfect business, not by a long shot, especially when it comes to booking.
I want Brother Carter to guide us through the rest of this segment here.
Yes.
This is really his.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's a sermon now. Let me get ready.
Yes,
Okay.
It's a sermon. I want to say more thing before Brother Carter goes. When you look at AEW, and this is my point of view, and a lot of it's just the messaging is probably my biggest issue that I have with AEW. You can have good matches. You can have your good promos here and there with CM Punk and MJF. But going back to what you mentioned earlier in the show, can anybody tell you what AEW actually is? No. Brad Carter, go ahead. Lead us the rest of the way here.
No, man, I've been itching to this all night. Here's the only other thing I'll say about this is, and again, this is more just about our segment. We want AEW to be good. Like, we want AEW to be, because if AEW is a successful promotion, it's good for the wrestling business because it's more good content that's being put out there. But like Josh says, we're gonna just debunk these myths that people are saying that just be, and I really think that a lot of the stuff comes from the fact that it's just not WWE. That's what it is. It's people think AEW is the greatest thing ever because it's not WWE, and that's the
and live on that forever.
That's right, exactly. So, okay, we're gonna try to go through this quickly, but I want to break down this Revolution card and just talk about a couple of things. All right, we start off with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, which I actually didn't mind this match. I thought this was actually a good match. The submission from Eddie Kingston looked really good, except with the show basically opening by JR lying to the fans and saying that the referees do a good job. That is one of the first things he said on the show, was that the referees do a good job. It's like, the hell are you talking about? Then they just openly bite each other in front of the referee. Like, what is your message here? Oh, God. And then, of course, Jericho doesn't shake the hand, which we know why, which we'll get into in just a little bit. You were talking about the core being a terrible faction. Oh, just wait till just wait.
He's had enough.
Wait till we get to Dynamite. Okay. By the way, please feel free to stop me at any time if you have anything you'd like to add or any comments.
Yeah, just quick with Aubrey Edwards, it's not surprising that she's in the ring while JR is saying that, but go ahead.
Yeah, good point. Okay, and then we get to the trampoline match. I mean, the triple threat tag team match. The backyard trampoline match.
Apex Entertainment.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, I'd like to say something to Bobby Fish. For the love of God, Bobby, shut the hell up. Nobody cares about your little commentary from the last week when he was like Dynamite when Paige was cutting his promo. And then all during this match, Paige was like, oh, you suck. Or Fish was like, oh, you suck. You suck. You suck. Saying all this shit to Nick Jackson. Imagine, like, shut the hell up. I'm going to sum up this match for you. Ready? Spot, spot, spot. The Elite argues. Spot, spot, spot. Match is over. That's all you need to know about any Elite match or, a match involving the Young Bucks. That's what it is. There are no doubt in my mind that these superstars are exceptional athletes, but they cannot tell a story. How am I invested in anything that they do from an emotional standpoint? And again, if you like, backyard trampoline flip wrestling, fine, more power to you. If that's what gets you, great. But like, I have no reason to be emotionally invested in these characters. So does anybody have anything you want to say about that? Or
structure?
Thank you.
For shoot, this took me an hour to type out.
Oh.
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. And then we get to the ladder match. Orange Cassidy's gimmick has run its course. It's not funny anymore. I will say this, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. And maybe it's just because he wanted to leave, but I don't understand how WWE didn't do more with Keith Lee. I think Keith Lee is just fantastic, and he did a great job in this match. He was besides Wardlow, he was one of the breakout stars in this match. I thought he was terrific. I just don't get how WWE passed on him, and maybe he just wanted to leave. But so I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Do you have anything to add about that?
No, I agree with you. I think that Keith Lee, especially from NXT, beating Adam Cole and really being the face of NXT for a short while.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think he'd be down there. I didn't get it, but a lot of us don't. But hey, if he's happy where he is, so be it. But at the end of the day, it's like one of those big question marks. But in a weird kind of ladder match for that Sonic ring, I thought Keith Lee was one of my early predictions to win the thing. But Wardlow, Mr. Mayhem, winning the Sonic ring and taking it to another level. So hey,
they just need to be careful that Dr. Robotnik doesn't come in and steal the ring while Wardlow is looking.
I mean, I said it on Twitter. Other than Keith Lee, I had my money on Tails. But
That's great. Okay, so Josh and Tony, another thing, AEW sports themselves as a sports-based wrestling company, right? Can you explain Danhausen to me?
Oh,
Can you explain
Donovan Danhausen?
I need to get this off my chest. One thing with the ladder match, two things. One, there's no reason why you have three horses standing in the ring while fucking Pocket's doing the shooting Snorlax kicks in the middle of the ring. It takes all the credibility out of that. Secondly, this damn cosplaying drag queen that you can see downtown Chicago, Dan Clownhausen, please go home and stay the fuck home. Oh my God. And he cost Ricky Starks the match. Oh, here's my spell. I can curse you. Get out of here, man.
God. I mean, he did everything during that match, but the hell with it. He screwed Ricky Starks. And listen, I'll be the first one to say the world needs more Ricky Starks.
Yes, absolutely. Ricky Starks, fantastic.
But like, with Donovan Danhausen, it's almost like the old Jerry Seinfeld, sketch where he's like, "What is going on here? Like, what's going on with this?" Like so.
But the crowd marks out for Danhausen. I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe there's something more to his character on the Indies that I don't know, but I don't get it. But
there's something more to that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you in a future episode.
Happy for Wardlow. I think that's great. Jade Cargill coming out as Jade from Mortal Kombat. That was bad fuck ass.
Star
awesome. Jade Cargill is a superstar. She needs to get away from AEW and get some real training in NXT, and she could be a megastar. She could main event WrestleMania, no problem. I think Jade Cargill has the it factor. I think she is by far the top female talent in AEW, and it's not close.
Somebody signed me up for Jade and Bianca Belair.
Yes. Could you imagine Jade against Bianca, Jade against Charlotte, Jade against Ronda Rousey? I mean, my God, Becky Lynch. That would be fan-freaking-tastic.
And what a turnaround for her, especially in the last year.
Yeah. I think this is one of the few awards that the biased publication actually got right, with her being
biased publication,
with perhaps the most ridiculously overrated publication of all time got right in her being the rookie of the year. I think she was fantastic. I guess the problem with her is the women's division in AEW. Who's next? Like, who can you legitimately put as a challenge? Well, Thunder Rosa, sure. Maybe Hikaru Shida, maybe. But other than that, because it sure ain't the Britt Baker and the Candlestick Maker. Sure as hell ain't her, because her stock has gone way downhill since her boyfriend showed up. But anyways, Josh, go ahead.
It'll be the we will chop you. It'll be Emi Sakura. Oh Lord.
Okay.
I agree with you with Jay Cargill. She's a walking Brinks truck. They should change it to Cargill trucks. That should be the name of money.
Yeah, she is. They have a license to print money with her.
Yep.
And then we get to the match, which should have been the main event. And this tells you everything you need to know about AEW's booking. They didn't put their hottest feud as the main event.
That's right, kids. Punk versus Maxwell Jacob Feinstein. MJF.
Everything about this was great except the thumbtacks. Once they get the thumbtacks out, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
But I love this. Wardlow finally did his turn. Great. I thought everything about this was fantastic. What a war. I was nervous for Punk early on in this match. I thought he might have bladed just a little bit too deep, and I got a little nervous. But congratulations to both of them. I thought this was fantastic. I thought this was the match of the night. And great storytelling. Again, if the thumbtacks weren't there, this would have been perfect. But that's just me. I don't know what y'all want to say about that.
Should have been main event regardless.
Correct.
Yeah, I thought it should have been the main event too. I am biased. By the way, shouts upon to Rocky's original ROH gear and theme song. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool moment for him. Yeah, man. There's no reason why Maxwell Jacob Freeman should not be in the title picture for AEW, but they're more fixating on things that could supposedly rattle Vince.
No, they're just speaking because the reason he's not in the title picture is because this is all elite wrestling, and if you're not the elite, you don't matter. Because
what's elite about it?
Correct. Okay, so that was great. Then comes the women's title match. They finally get a new women's title belt. It looks badass, but I don't know why it took them so long. We mentioned the referee thing. That was just ridiculous. JR, he's like, how the hell can you not be aware about some crap that is going down? JR, who has pointed out what everyone has known about AEW referees for the last 3 years. I'm sorry, but I don't care about Britt Baker anymore. I don't. I think that her stock has gone way down. I think that ever since Adam Cole showed up, Britt Baker has gone way downhill. I think she's
who just 6 weeks ago was singing the Britt Baker DMD train and John on the bandwagon.
Yes, I have, because according to and we're going to get into another one of this when we start getting into Dynamite. When the facts change, so does my opinion, and the facts have changed. Britt Baker is not what she once was.
Wow.
Like, all you have to do is just watch her in the ring and see how sloppy she has been, and just her promos are uninteresting. I'm sorry, I'm off of the Britt Baker train.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Carter is no longer captivated.
Yeah, by the way, your definition of facts and what the what truth is sounds a little bit like this. Hold up.
Oh,
damn YouTube.
You better better be careful. You better watch your tone. You got a part in the royal court right now, Lopez, but you better be careful. I can demote you from scribe to jester in like that if you're not careful.
Well,
Jericho, I'm just
I wouldn't pump up my chest like that. Wait till you see brother Tony's reaction to your new favorite tag team.
I didn't say no.
Oh,
Now you're putting words in my mouth there.
My monitor just went black. I think that was a low blow.
You're gonna see what? Yeah, he's putting words in my mouth. Hold on, we'll get to that. Okay, let's go through the rest of this card.
Yes.
Moxley Danielson. I thought the match was good, but the crowd was dead because they were tired from the thing. William Regal showing up, I thought was
saved it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a game changer for AEW. I think could be. Yes. It could be, and I'll try to find the tweet that I sent to Josh earlier. But I'll try to find that out. AEW's strategy of signing every ex-WWE talent is going to wear off because apparently AEW is now Swerve's house. Fine, whatever. Trios match, more spots, totally boring, but Sting looked good. And props to every time I see Sting wrestle, I'm very I'm impressed because at 62 years old, he can still go.
Yes.
So props to Sting for that. And then the main event, which did not feel like a main event. And I'm sorry, Adam Page does not feel like a world champion, which sucks because I love Adam Page. I think Adam Page is terrific. But the AEW has done nothing to build him up as a credible world champion. So you got Adam Cole, who comes out to the wrong side of the ring to do his Adam Cole Bebe thing. If you notice that, he went to the wrong side of the ring and had to improvise. So first we have that. Then Adam Page, who comes out, and I mean, fine. Like, they had a good match. Adam Cole actually sort of looked like what he should be as opposed to, eating donuts and playing video games as opposed to working on the treadmill all the time. He actually looked like a wrestler. Adam Cole tuned up the band to take a shot at Shawn Michaels because why wouldn't AEW take a shot at WWE? And again, this match to me, I just don't believe Adam Page is a world champion, and it's not Page's fault. It's the booking. So anyways, that's just my brief thoughts. Anybody want to comment on anything before we get to Dynamite?
I'll say this. My favorite match of the show was Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, just because it had a New Japan style flavor to it. It was my favorite match to type out for the event. I thought this pay-per-view was maybe a B- at best. If I had to grade it, people thought, Josh, you're going to give it an F or whatever. No, it was fun, but people are like, oh my God, this is the best pay-per-view I've seen since WrestleMania 17. I'm like, what? First off, I'm not straight edge, but I like to have what you're smoking. Like, also, the nonsense trio match. Tony Khan, if you're thinking about starting a trios championship division, I think that match should be an evidence as to why you should not have a trios division. And then also the main event, I think Tony would appreciate my thoughts on this. It's one thing to have counter wrestling, and then there's one thing to make your opponent look stupid trying to do 6 different fake out spots during the match just to do a false finish. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, for me, in no particular order, the matches for me would be Punk and MJF, sans tax. But I thought it was a very good, if it's the ending to the feud, so be it. I thought that was a good ending to that. Yep. And the match between Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, I thought that match, hey, Moxley said, I don't bond with somebody until I bleed with them first. So I'm glad that they were able to have their match, and then Sir Lordship Will I Am Regal saving the show entirely, and for bringing a little bit. I mean, Regal just doesn't demand respect; he commands it just by his presence alone. So Regal's going to be somebody that everybody's going to keep their eyes on. I thought it was a good show. Greatest of all time. I've seen a lot of pay-per-views in my lifetime. Clearly not the greatest of all time. But what was it? Was it a good pay-per-view to where maybe somebody who hasn't watched AEW or hasn't seen professional wrestling could get into it? Sure. But I thought it had something for everybody. And isn't that what professional wrestling should be anyway? But greatest of all time? Absolutely not.
But they say that about every single AEW pay-per-view. As soon as an AEW pay-per-view,
I like their confidence. Don't get me wrong. I like their confidence, but in the grand scheme of things, there have been WCW pay-per-views bigger than AEW pay-per-views, and that's the truth. I've watched it. That's the truth. But other than that, I thought it was a good, decent pay-per-view. Yeah. Some spots were good, others not so much. But hey, no pay-per-view is perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, not every match needs to be 20+ minutes on the card.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Okay, let's quickly get through because I know we're pushing
Dynamite.
So let's get through Dynamite here. I really liked a lot of the promos this week on Dynamite, talking about the things I did like. I thought Eddie Kingston had a great promo. William Regal had a great promo. Wardlow had a great promo. So I thought that there was some really outstanding promo work this week on AEW, which was some of my favorite parts about the show. Looks like Thunder Rosa is about to win herself a world title next week. Thank God. Pac looked good in his match. I thought that was great. But yeah, I thought those are some of the things I liked about Dynamite this week. Okay, I'm going to say 3 words, and I want to get your immediate reaction. Here we go. Jericho Appreciation Society.
No, sir. I don't like it.
Fade away, classify yourself as obsolete.
Absolutely. So here's basically what happened. You replaced one of the probably the best part of the Inner Circle with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. And you tell me why I'm supposed to care about this.
All right.
That makes me care more about Santana and Ortiz.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So is Axl Rose trying to duel up the Dead Poet Society? Is that what we're gonna do here? Like, we got to appreciate Chris Jericho because his content over the last 2 years has been complete dog shit since La Dina de Bania. The moment the narrative that AEW is not a sports entertainment company narrative died. But go ahead.
Did you see that Jake Hagar, who we know is completely useless, almost killed Eddie Kingston? Did you see that? Like,
oh God!
He couldn't get him up for the power bomb, and then he almost dropped him on his head through the table. Did you see that?
Oh God!
Embarrassing.
Cringeworthy.
Like, I saw that, I was like, "Oh, good Lord!" Oh God! So this was awful. I don't know why Jericho acts like a face when his music comes out because the crowd will pop and it will always sing Judas, but then he tries to be this bullshit chicken heel that nobody cares about. I don't understand it at all. It makes no sense. Okay. Apparently we hand out random world title matches because Dante Martin in an unadvertised gets a world title match in the second segment of the show. Great.
Yeah, that's what you get for beating Aaron Solo and QT Marshall on Dark and Elevation for 2 weeks. Oh my God, Dante Martin's on a hot streak on Dark. Wow. That's like saying the Bears were undefeated in fucking preseason.
And then the ending of that match, actually, Tony, you were talking about structure, and I thought about this. The ending of the match was way off. It was a spot into a completely predictable buckshot lariat. Like, Dante, if you look, Martin stood there for about 3 seconds before taking the buckshot lariat. Like, he could have easily gotten out of that. Like,
yes.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you all saw that or caught that, but
I was able to catch that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like it's so important, especially when you're going into the end of the match. You don't, as the fans, you don't want to go into a scenario where you need to predict when the finish is supposed to happen. A finish should be completely unexpected and in the moment, not. Okay, we're going to do the buckshot lariat and you need to be right over there in that spot over there. But no, it's but no, as the finish of the match, it needs to look and be as spontaneous as anything. And that's one of the most important parts of a match to lay out. And to me, I took a look at that and I was like, whoa, he was ready for it for a long time.
Right. And if the casual fan can notice that, I can only imagine what the people in the business think about that too. Okay, we're gonna get another Elite versus Adam Page match. Who cares? Danielson and Moxley versus Jobbers. Don't care.
Moxley.
I'm sorry, Moxley.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Good.
So Yeah, Regal promo was great.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. That was fantastic. I love that. Okay, I don't know who is the worst mascot, Pockets or Danhausen. I don't know who is the
Oh
worst.
jeez.
They cancel each other out. Next.
Okay, I wrote down the Elite is so bad. Seriously, how do they have like I like you look at that promo backstage? I'm like, they are so bad.
In my opinion, Brandon is the MVP because he keeps the camera on.
Yes. Well, and you know,
Brandon Cutlet's the most funniest guy in that group is a shame. But go ahead.
I was just saying, you look at him as like, is he happy about how his career has turned out? Like he's playing seventh fiddle to the most overrated group of all time. Okay, so we all agree here. Tully Blanchard is a legend in professional wrestling. I think we can all agree.
Sir.
Yes, right. He got fired in a backstage segment with an awful segue after that. You're fired. Cut to the next thing. Like, maybe it's just me, but I think that should have been a slightly bigger deal to fire a legend like Tully Blanchard. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
all due respect to Dax Hardwood. I appreciate what you do in the ring, brother, but please stay off the microphone for a couple months because you come off very disingenuous when you try to invoke personal stuff into your promos. Then you tend to be a tough guy the next second. I'm sorry. You become very two-faced in your promos. I enjoy what you do in the ring. You're a good wrestler, blah, 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 but keep all microphones away from Dax Hardwood.
Yes.
If you're gonna fire somebody like Tully Blanchard, you need to, especially with Tully Blanchard and tag team wrestling and FTR, shouldn't that be a big deal?
Yeah.
And had anything actually led up to this whole decision and Tully being fired? The answer, kids, is no.
Yeah, a whole faction broke up, and the main guy wasn't even on the show. So if that doesn't tell you what structure or lack of thereof of structure at AEW, I don't know what else to tell you.
But hey, Booker of the Year, pal, for 2 years in a row. All right, so the running limp man is now being held by Darby Allin and Sting. How does this make sense? And I know they were all in a tag match, fine, but I would think Darby and Sting have better things to do than to help the running limp man.
You would think.
At WWE, we got the Hardy Boys music. Yeah.
Hey. Just to let you know, listen, the Hardy Boys theme, we didn't pay for that. That's a stock music song that everybody's used in like every commercial in like the last 30 years. Right. We just picked the song because we really couldn't come up with a theme for the Hardy Boys. Sorry. Like I saw it on Twitter. AEW got the Hardy Boys song. AEW got the Hardy Boys song. AEW looked online. Yeah, what's the name of the song? Loaded. Oh, Zach Tempest. Okay, stock music. All right, can we cue it up in the truck? Like, are you serious?
But then reports are coming out that they have purchased the rights to this song. Like, I'm just like,
I have this song. You mean to tell me they purchased the rights to the song? Get out of here! And like you said, you'd think that Sting and Darby Allin, after being in a 6-man tag at the pay-per-view, should be getting ready for their next feud, their next endeavor. But no, they have to be hero to the sensei of Mattitude, who unfortunately suffered an unfortunate twist of fate. So no, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think I honestly thought Sting and Darby Allin would have better things to do. I was like, I saw them. I'm like, where'd they show up?
I don't know. Okay. Did either of you remember that Tony Nese was in AEW?
No, I forgot.
I forgot too. But all of a sudden he shows up like this. I'm a big deal here in AEW, and I'm going to be the first match to Shane Swerve Strickland on Rampage.
Where have you been, Holmes?
Staring at Hook on Rampage? That's the biggest thing you've done since you've been in AEW? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so remember we talked about earlier that Keith Lee, big deal. How did he get wasted in WWE? Great. The Booker of the Year is going to make his first feud with QT Marshall.
Paul Blart to the rescue. Yes. Paul Blart, Doug Heffernan, all the characters.
Oh no.
My back is getting weary. I'm getting attacked.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. We have been building to this moment for a few hours here. Josh, I can't believe I'm about to say this,
Here we go.
and I owe you an apology.
Here we go. Yes. Here we go.
The Acclaimed is growing on me. Ever so slightly. They're growing on me. And here's why. I have started to think of The Acclaimed as like a B-rated 1960s horror movie. Shut up, Josh. A B-rated 1960s horror movie. It's so bad, you can't help but laugh. When Castor comes out and goes, listen, listen, yo, listen. Like the way he says, I'm just started like, it's so bad. It's funny. And you said to me this, Josh, one time, apparently they did this when they were in Chicago. They did this rap off screen that they was making fun of and was actually kind of funny. And I said to you, oh my God, how could you possibly like anything The Acclaimed does? I don't know. Something about it is starting to grow on me. Now, I think that they have no business being wrestling. I don't agree with them as a team. I think they're terrible. I think that they just whatever. Like, I don't think they deserve to be in the ring at all. I think they're terrible in the ring. Fine, but the act, because it's so bad, I laugh a little bit. So, Josh, I apologize. I am sorry. You were right. They're growing on me a little bit. Doesn't mean I like them. Doesn't mean I will ever like them. But I try to find the positive in anything, and I apologize. I think it's so bad now that it's comically funny.
Takes a big man to accept that.
So I apologize. That's on me. That's on me.
I appreciate you saying that, Derek Kellerman. I do appreciate you staying on one stance and then flipping the script when it works for you.
Hold on. What do you mean it works for me? What the hell are you talking about? And then you go out here saying, I think they're the best tag team of all time. You know what happens, Josh, to people? You know what happens to people who put words in other people's mouth? Do you know? Do you know what happens, Mr. Josh Lopez? I'm teasing this big announcement. I'm going to move down to Florida when it's convenient for me, and that's going to be the big announcement for me. But no, I'm staying in Chicago where it's cold and it's 12 degrees, and they dilute the water and they poison the water, turn it all green, kill the fish, they kill the worms, they kill the Aquaman down there. Aquaman has a right to live too, and you're poisoning him by killing the water. So, Mr. Josh Lopez putting words in my mouth. You just made the list.
I can't save you on that one right there. I mean, I will say this. It's kind of like first of all, Derek, it takes a big man to admit when he's made a mistake.
Yes, thank you.
And when it comes, it's kind of like how this goes way back. So in the mid 80s, Honky Tonk Man was a babyface, being an Elvis impersonator, and he wanted a vote of confidence because he knew the people liked him. And they did a vote, and it turns out that like more than half of them said, "We don't dig you." So he goes and gets Jimmy Hart as his manager, and people hate him. But over time, I guess Derek started to, at least when it comes to the Acclaimed, started to appreciate the little nuances of the Acclaimed. And that's how it always starts. And that's one of the beauties of wrestling, where you can't stand something for whatever reason. It gets on you, and then it triggers that little thing inside, and it starts turning the tables on you. It always happens like that.
This is what I don't get, okay? when I told Brother Carter that the Acclaim were ripping Lori Lightfoot, and justifiably so, at the Dynamite show I went to last month, he thought he was making it out like I was insulting the integrity of our segment by mentioning that I liked the Acclaim ripping Lori Lightfoot. Now we get to hear, and then it's okay. It's okay. They're growing on me. Saying that they're comparable to B movies is insults. It's disrespectful to B movies. That's what it is.
To Derek,
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I just think it's kind of crazy for you to go like, "Oh, I can't believe you put over the Acclaim." Like, here you are, and I got to be put on the list.
Brian,
bullshit.
He had to figure it out for himself.
I'm a slow learner sometimes. I'm a little slow learner sometimes. I will say this, though. If I ever say that about the Elite, I demand to be removed from this podcast. If I ever say that about I'll say the Bucks, because I still think there's hope for Adam Cole. But if I ever say that about the Bucks or Kenny Omega, please, by all means, I give you permission to boot me from this podcast. So, okay, real quick. Mediocre match between Thunder Rosa and Layla Hirsch. I thought that was meh. I don't understand why we haven't gotten a Dan Lambert promo in a while. He's one of the best parts about AEW, but they're keeping him off TV. Okay, and then we get to the main event, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. Scorpio Sky wins the TNT Championship. I think Sammy Guevara, and Josh, you and I have disagreed on Sammy Guevara from the very beginning. I think Sammy Guevara is terrific. I obviously he made some mistakes in the past, but I think he is one of the pillars of AEW. But he took an unnecessarily stupid bump doing that 630 through the table. Like, one wrong move and he could have ended his, like, one slip and he could have ended his career. Like, what's the point? What was the point of that? Yeah,
I didn't like that at all.
I thought that was completely unnecessary.
That was reckless to me.
Yes. And again, just to try to get a pop from the Mark fans who are going to pop for you no matter what you do. So
I don't want to be sitting at home wondering if this guy is okay after doing a move like that. I just that to me was just, I was like, I hope he's okay. Like, I don't need to feel that way sitting at home.
No. I don't get why Scorpio Sky deserves the TNT Championship. It only makes sense the only way it will make sense is if he drops it to Wardlow next week. That would be the only way him winning that makes sense. And then that way Sammy Guevara can start to do stuff against the Jack Off Appreciation Society or whatever. Whatever. So I don't know. That's the only way. If there's some longevity story telling you that, fine. But I just don't get what the point of that was. So what were y'all's thoughts on anything else to add from Dynamite or from that match? Or
real quick, AEW gives you no reason to watch Rampage. Hence why they average 400,000 viewers a week on TNT. Also, I don't mind Scorpio Sky winning the title because, again, AEW plays hot potato with the TNT title a lot. They do it a lot. I get it's a TV title. You want to do child changes here or there, but this is probably the second or third time Sammy Guevara's lost the TNT title in 5 months. It's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. But stupid people do stupid things, so I wasn't surprised by the 630 flop there. Him and Ty Conti remind me of any couple that I went to high school with. I will say that. I have no comment as far as them getting matching tattoos because I worked at a tattoo place and people make their decisions. More power to them. I'm not here to judge. Also, unfortunately, Brett Carter, I have a feeling that Sean Spears is going to cost Wardlow next week, and I see it, the writing on the wall.
Sadly, I think you might. Now that you say that, that actually makes sense. Not from a storyline telling, but from AEW booking strategy. That actually makes sense.
On that note, folks, we're going to put a ribbon on the bow for this edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. I'll find a clip right here. Let's play it right here.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Brought to you by Useless Mascots.
Hey, somebody gets Aubrey Everett some VR goggles. Oh man, stupid. I don't know if you caught that. I said
No, hey, listen. Listen. There's nothing wrong with
stop.
I might have to add that sound bite whenever I want to make a yes.
Somebody please get Aubrey Everett some damn VR goggles for once. Jeez, she really needs some help with the vision department.
I'm not doing it. I don't have that kind of money.
Really quick, guys, I want to thank you guys for being part of this journey with me. It's been a fun show. I know it's a little long, but it's a big show here, and I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. This time went by really fast, actually, to be honest with you. So I hope you guys had a good time on here. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media. Let's start off with referee Tony.
Well, you can. Oh my God. Well, you can find me social media, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. I'm on it. I'm at referee Tony S. And surprisingly, I am the only one, except that one person the other day who tried to impersonate me on Twitter to get a copy of WWE 2K22 and got busted. So, referee Tony S. And that is legitimate. Wow. So, yes, that is legitimate. So, sucker. So you can find me on Twitter, referee Tony S, Instagram, referee Tony S. There's only one. That's me. If you don't know it, ask for it. I also do a podcast called Heat, the Wrestling Podcast. We had Sean Silver on from 98.5 The Sports Hub. We did some nostalgia wrestling. We did a match that he's never seen before. We did Snuka of Morocco from Madison Square Garden. Surprising that he's never seen that in full. Just like Joshie Lopez, we brought him back to Ring of Honor from 2009 in Chicago. By the way, we are going to interview Mr. Brother Carter very soon. As soon as Brother Carter, actually, no, he gave me his match. He wants to see Jericho and Omega from Wrestle Kingdom, I believe.
I think that's because that's the one I've never seen. And
yes, that is. Yep. So as soon as I find it, I will be talking to Brother Carter to get a date. We can do an interview and we check out the Rewind. It is on all podcast platforms, Reason Radio Public, Podbean, the Good Pod, you name it, we're on it. And if you do not have your podcast platform does not have Heat the Wrestling Podcast, don't just ask for it, demand it, as I like to say. But again, I appreciate Josh and Derek having me on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to spoil the fact right here that because of this momentous occasion, and because I have the power to do this, with Josh's permission, I'd like to break this in half, and I would like to make this episode the next two versions of the show, so I can introduce people to the Hoots Podcast who's maybe never listened to it before, give it an idea of what it's really all about. That's what I would like to do. And I would also like to spoil an idea that I've had that neither Josh or Brother Carter know about. And that is that I would like to invite both of you onto the show to do the first ever all elite draft. That's right. I would like to invite both of you on to do the first ever all elite draft, where one of you will be in charge of Dynamite. The other will be in charge of Rampage, which means whoever has AEW Dynamite will have Dark. Whichever one of you has Rampage will have a Dark Evolution or a Dark Elevation, and you two will be able to draft your individual shows. 10 picks each. Will not make it too long. You'll be able to state your case. Now, I will be giving you the roster ahead of time, so that way you can be able to make your shows. Now, as far as who's going to be controlling the shows, we will do it on the air as it is. But I want you to get ready because it's going to be a competition. Now, as far as who the champions are going to be and how titles are going to be decided, I will figure that out. But I figure since we have the What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, I figure we give each of you your own show to kind of see who will be the best of the best. The first ever all elite draft. What do you think?
Sign me up. That sounds fantastic. Let's go.
Rick Moranis, come check it out. Take some notes.
Yes, but honestly, it's definitely a pleasure for me to come on here and do episode 300 with you guys. It means a lot just to be part of the journey here for the Hoots Podcast. I'm glad that you're going to be continuing to do this and figuring out what you love. We're all going to be here for you. If you need to take a break, I don't mind invading the show or hosting with brother Derek or whatever. But let's continue to have some fun. And again, thank you so much for continuing to have me, and congratulations on 300 and now beyond.
Yes. Brett Carter, how about you?
Awesome. Well, you can find me on the socials. You can follow me on Twitter at Derek Stoughton. You can follow me on Instagram at Jericho06. It's like Jericho, except with a D. Jericho06. Be sure to check out my work at WrestlingRumors.net. I do some columns there. Definitely check all that work out. If you want to see what I do in my personal life, you can check out my personal website, DerekStoughton.com. You can see what I do in the world of music. So be sure to check all of that stuff out. And once again, Josh, it is just an honor and a pleasure to get to be part of this journey with you. I am humbled and honored that you have asked me to be one of the co-hosts of the show, a position I never thought I would find myself in several years ago. And it's just been so much fun to be a part of this journey with you, to all the number of events we've been in, the number of shows we've done together. It has just been such a fun ride. And I'm so happy to hear that we're going to be doing this for at least another few years, man. I'm really excited about this journey and seeing how this show grows, and to meet such wonderful people such as Tony and Adam and several others that we've had a chance to meet over the years. It's just been an honor and a pleasure. I always feel like I'm, and I say this, but I'm just a person who just is a fan, and you've given me a platform to get to express some opinions, and whether anybody cares about it, even if a few people care about it, that's just humbling and honoring. And it's humbling and it's an honor for me. So Josh, thank you so much. You're a good brother of all good brothers. Tony, it's been a pleasure to finally be on a show with you, and or to be on another show with you. I know we've done a couple shows together in the past. Looking forward to being on your show in the future.
Yes.
And Wrestling Rewind, and to do the draft. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, Josh, love you, brother. This has been a heck of a journey. Looking forward to where the future takes us.
I love you guys too, man. It's been a very cathartic night, but a very fun night. And I want to apologize in advance if the link is too long for you guys. I do want to apologize in advance for that, but I thought this was a good show, and it's been one of my favorite episodes that we've done so far. So with it being episode 300, it's quite apropos. I want to give a shout out for Pat coming on and hanging out with us. That was pretty cool to have him on and shoot the shit with us. So that was pretty cool. Make sure to follow him at Twitter at Rated PWF. Support Tony's podcast. He has a good podcast. I don't say that just because he's here. I believe that. And
he's saying it.
There's not a lot of good shows out there.
But
he's one that you should definitely check out. But yeah, if you guys missed the announcement where I was literally breaking down, but we're gonna continue on with the show, and hopefully the show can reach 500 episodes. That's the next benchmark. So for Brother Carter, for referee Tony S, I'm Joshie. This has been episode 300 of the Hoots Podcast. Remember, be the authentic product that is yourself. I say this each and every single episode because it's true. And never forget, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. For referee Tony, for Pat, for Brother Carter, I'm Brother Adam. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week. This has been the Hoots Podcast. Love you guys. See you later.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.